We are live. Welcome to the RedBlue pod number 38. Cole will run a bit late, so how are you, DC?
Doing good. Doing good.
That's good. That's amazing. Today we got a lot of topics, and I hope Cole won't be too late. Like it will be late, and that's fine. But I hope he won't be too late. So, where are you at with Gotham Knights? Did you started uh, watching the show?
I've only reached to the part where it's the college like party scene. Apart from that, I haven't been able to catch up with much of it, but I'll try to get catch up next couple of weeks.
What do you think so far? It's like 10 minute in, maybe. Is it 10 minute in?
I think I mean I watched on the CW website, and usually until the first commercial, I think that's around like 10, maybe 5 minute mark. I don't know. I think the part I got was maybe I think 3 minutes, something like that. I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah,
So, what did
yeah.
you think of like the first few scenes?
So far it's decent. Not like one of the worst shows I've ever seen, but it certainly can have its, but it certainly has potential. Um, yeah, yeah,
That's good. You are more optimistic than Cole and I, and that's amazing. That's the point of the podcast not sounding like a echo chamber,
yeah.
because I don't want to sound like an echo chamber. And I will renew the invite if you know anybody that would be interested to be part of the podcast. Just let us know. Could have the
All right.
person be guest or even regular if the person is serious enough and interested enough
Mm,
to join us.
yeah.
So, with that being said, Superman and Lois, did you have time to catch up or um, know about what's going on in the first two episodes?
I know what's going on because I was able to watch a recap of the first two episodes, so I know what's going on. So yeah. I know Bruno Mannheim's the main villain. I know episode two. I don't want to get into it, but because I don't want to spoil it, but I know what happens in the end. But
Well,
yeah,
that's one of the topics of today. That's also why I asked, because we will spoil it for sure. And since Cole is not around for now, um, well, that could be interesting to tackle what's going on there. So, the cancer storyline. How do you feel about it? Lois having cancer.
hmm. I like the storyline just because it makes the show feel a little bit more real because, well, because the thing about Lois Lane in the comics and in the Superman media is that she's human, but they always portray her as invincible when in reality she's just normal human.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that
So it's
that's a good point there. And
yeah.
anything else to add about that? Uh, about that.
No.
Okay, so the Flash is coming next week. Well, this week actually. This week it's back. Uh, do you expect anything coming from episode 7? I believe. I think it will be episode 7.
Yeah, it's episode seven, and to be honest, I don't really expect because again, like I said before, this is the final season, and they're still having these interludes slash filler episodes. I'm pretty confident that this upcoming episode would be, well, Supergirl, like an episode from Supergirl, because it does feature Dreamer. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to this episode.
Did you like Dreamer at all as a character?
No, no, I did not. I felt she was too much of a rip off of Vibe from The Flash, at least Vibe from the first couple of seasons.
Really? Is there a other reason outside of her power set, like her personality, or
I also, I think I also didn't like her personality either, and her relationship with Brainy. That was one key points of season 5 I really did not like. And also, I always thought her relationship with Kara was just not done that well. Like when
Yeah.
I look at past relationships in the Arrowverse, like Barry and Wally, Oliver and the new recruits, there's far more chemistry and understanding. With Kara and Dreamer, I don't think there was, and not mentioned the episode in season 4 where Dreamer essentially gets in her family are together. That was a terrible episode. Yeah, I never really like. Yeah, yeah, I never really liked Dreamer. So yeah, I don't really expect this episode to be good at all.
That's interesting because I did thought Dreamer was a very good character. I enjoyed her for most of what was going on in the show. But just like you, I really disliked a lot Brainy and Dreamer relationship. I didn't thought it made any sense. And I was like, why are we dealing with this shit? I'm not interested. I want like the plot with the villain. Like I feel like Supergirl as a show, their biggest flaw was really like always focusing so much in love relationship. Like it killed the first half of the third season for me, and the third season is still like one of the best things the show did, but relationship nearly killed season 3. And relationship, but now it's not really about love, but more friendship. Lena and Karen season 5 was a disaster. It was painful to watch. Lena character was assassinated for no better use of the word. Um, that yeah, Supergirl did so many things wrong, and it's funny how we get these supporting character but not Kara because the actress doesn't want to be Supergirl anymore. I just find that very funny because we get Oliver back. I think it's episode 9 or 8. It's soon. I know it's soon. It's probably like just before the start of the Cobalt Blue thingy. Uh, but se7en is willing to come back. He is ready to come back, and he looks invested and interested. And the other end, we get Kara that's not really interested. Like Mil Sabino is just like, yeah, I do my stuff. I don't care about Supergirl anymore. And I think one of the reason why Melissa doesn't want to be involved in anything Supergirl anymore. It's because her show wasn't that great, and I suspect she kind of knew it. Hi, Vicente our block studio. Welcome to the podcast. So we speak about comic book stuff. I say that because it's the first time I see you in the chat. So I just basically tell you what's going on with that. So, yeah. Um, why do you think Mil Sabinus doesn't want to come back in Supergirl shoes?
I always thought it's probably because um I always thought it's because she kind of wanted to move on with I always thought she wanted to move on with different projects because it's kind of like why Stephen Amell kind of decided to have Arrow and at its 8th season because they still wanted to oh, he's gonna be right back. I'll just be on mute.
So yeah, I'm back. Something came up.
Yeah,
That wasn't too long. I hope so. Um,
yeah.
yeah. What were you saying?
I was actually gonna say that the reason why I think most of Norris decided to go and quit Supergirl season 6 was because she wanted to move on with other project.
Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. A lot of people also says that, but I feel like it's not a true excuse because there are many people that were into several projects. The perfect example would be Tyler Hoechlin, as he was filming Superman and Lois second season. He was also doing other stuffs like making Teen Wolf movie. I'm not really into that, but that's what I heard. And
Mm.
yeah, that's like that's not the true reason I think. But here again, maybe it's partly right. Maybe you're right, and I've heard she would be the voice of a character in a animation series. I can't remember the name. A animation series that was really blasted by pretty much everyone. Um,
Mm.
so yeah,
Yeah.
Cole, where are you? um, what do you expect from Gotham Knight as a TV show? Do you think it will be
Um.
good or bad or in between?
Well. Hmm. I'd say probably good. Here's why. I like Arrow season 4, and I like the most hated seasons. Flash season 5 is another season of TV that's hated, but I generally enjoy it. So I'm pretty confident I'll enjoy Gotham Knights. I'm not saying it's going to be a completely perfect show, but I can see myself enjoying a lot of seasons of Gotham Knights.
That's good. Do you think it will live more than just one season?
Probably not because and honestly at this point I really wouldn't be surprised if Gotham Knights just gets canceled in what next week, because I mean that's kind of how the CW shows have been. Like they release a new show, it gets canceled in like what 5, they're in like its fifth episode. I mean that's what happened with Naomi last year, and I think Gotham Knights would suffer the same.
Okay, well that's very interesting. Do you think Superman and Lois will get a fourth season?
I mean, yeah, probably because of how popular the show is, it probably would get a season 4. But at the same time, looking at the CW's track record, I mean, they canceled Black Lightning, and that was a really, really good show, even if it had some flaws. Soon and Lois could possibly be the same.
Okay, that's good. Um, we will also actually cover the Flash again all season outside of season 9, but that's after Legends of Tomorrow. And the main reason why we will do that it's because the Flash movie is coming, and I don't know if I will support it, but I will watch it for sure just to laugh at it because I think it will be bad. Uh, they rely so much on cameos. That's how I see it. I may be wrong. Maybe the movie will be good, and it will be more than just cameos. But I don't expect Flash movie to be any good. Um, so I'm currently reading what Cole has to say. Yes, I'm at. So there's a Flash movie in June. Um, right now my attention is divided. So right now today I'm at. We will cover with Cole a bit later John Wick 1 if he had time to watch it. I haven't seen the fourth one, but we will cover the fourth one eventually. So next week we'll um, uh, probably cover the second one, and the following week the third one. We will see as you can. Um,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I was divided for a sec because I'm talking to Cole in message. He had a lot going on, but it will still come soon.
All
So
right.
um, the John Wick movies, they are kind of short and fast paced. And if you could watch the second and the first one, or only the second one, I don't know how linked they are, the sequels.
Mhm.
But next week we will cover John Wick 2. So if you have time this week, maybe add this to your list of things to watch for next week. Um, I think Cole has seen all of them, so once Cole comes in, I will actually ask him if the first and the second are that linked, or if you can watch just like the second without acknowledging the first one, you know?
All
Um,
right.
so if you can, then I'd suggest you to watch the second one. But if you can't,
Yeah.
well, try to watch the first one and eventually the second one if you have time, and
All right.
we will just add your opinion on both at some
All right.
point in the future.
All right.
So yeah, the Flash movie I'm at is around June or July. I can't remember exactly, but this will be with Ezra Miller, the freak that attacks people on beaches and on parties and that does burglary because he doesn't have enough money. Ezra Miller
Yeah.
is a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why they didn't cancel the Flash movie because of Ezra Miller. I mean, yeah, they could have announced. I mean, yeah, they did announce it, but then again, it's never too late to just straight up cancel the project. And the fact that they still have Ezra Miller, that just makes this whole situation even worse. Because you have Ezra Miller who did all these terrible things, and yet he doesn't get fired. And I'm like, yeah, and he's probably lying about when he say he's getting treatment because, well, I mean, people have lied about that important things like that before. So I'm like, why can't Ezra Miller do it? I yeah, I don't know why he's still on the pod on the Flash and still an actor and not in jail at this point.
Well, you said that he is an actor and he says he's non-binary and stuff. So because of that, he is protected. And this is funny because Ahmad is like, if there's a LGBTQ in the Flash movie, I'm out. Well, sometimes it's well done, Ahmad. I will say that. Sometimes it's well done. Like, I think Supergirl did it right. Dreamer is a trans character, and it never came across as forced or annoying. It was actually um, part of that character, but she didn't like came across as annoying because of it, and she was very good as a character, so can be done well if the writer are able to. And this is funny because Supergirl had really shitty writer, but they still pulled that one off. I don't know how they did that. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, the Flash. That's the thing. Because the Flash movie is coming, I will watch it, but probably not in theater. I will probably find it somewhere on the website where, like streaming site and stuff, because I don't want to support DC. They did so many wrong things. I I plan on watching Shazam 2 because one of my friend wanted me to go with him, but otherwise I would never have uh, decided to go watch Shazam 2. So I will go watch that next weekend. But yeah, because of the Flash movie, we will cover every season of the Flash, and this will also allow us to have cold stake because he has seen, like, I believe the first four season, but it's so far away in his memory that he only remembers the worst of it, and it will be funny to rewatch it on the Flash movie. I watched it after your reviews on the Flash movie. Okay, we'll see. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's why. So we finished DC's Legends of Tomorrow. That's the plan. Uh, we also cover Crisis on Infinite Earth next week. I will ask Cole if he thinks he will have enough time. So yeah, we will cover Crisis on Infinite Earth next week, and this way we will be able to cover season 5 after that, because DC's Legends of Tomorrow 5th season start off with Crisis. That's also why. So you get to see Sarah reacting to Oliver's death, and if Cole is not watching Crisis, he won't get it. So DC's Legends of Tomorrow is almost over for us, and I just realized it's not in the title, but that's one of the topic this week. Oh my. Um, so yeah, that's one of the topic, and I forgot to place it in the title. I guess that'll be a surprise. um, yeah, I just realized I forgot. But there's no
Yeah.
space anyway. Like, I think it's dumb to limit the title of streams to 100 uh, characters. I always
Yeah.
need to cut and stuff to make it fit and work. We'll
Yeah.
join in around 20 minutes. Okay. So I guess we need to find ways to make it entertaining while I'll call for 20 minutes. Um,
Yeah.
okay. So have you seen any of the movies in the topics of today? The first movie we planned on covering was Alien, the movie that was made in 1979. Have you seen that one?
I saw it a few years ago, but I really need to rewatch that one because I'll try to rewatch that. I'll also try and watch Alien 3, Alien Requiem, Alien vs Predator. And, but yeah, I have seen, but I don't really remember much.
Okay. Well, we had that as a topic this week, and I will say this without going too deep into it because Cole is not around. But that movie is a movie of its time. I think it didn't age well, like a lot of movies made around that time. Uh, like, I may sound harsh on older movies, but that's the reality of it. Um, like, special effects, they change over years, and I don't think that movie was well. At that time, it was well made, but that movie is like 50 years old and more. Like, I think it's 40-ish years old. Like, when movies gets that old, you really need to rely on something that's not a CGI thing to make it hold up and age well, But when it's a thing like Alien, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
I wish it was a remake. If they do a remake of Alien, I want some changes with some of the character, because I did thought there were a lot of issues in the script. They need to tweak it. If they remake it, they need to tweak it. They need to make it good, and like much better than the movie itself. Like, it's not a bad movie. It's much better than a lot of recent days movie, but it didn't age well at all. Have you seen the movie Se7en?
Yeah, actually, I have.
Oh, okay, okay. So, because you have seen it, we will actually speak about that. And once Cole jump in, you will just join the conversation. So I'm
Yeah.
surprised. Okay, that's good. You have seen Se7en. So,
Yeah.
okay, I guess we will dive deep into Se7en because we have seen it.
Yeah.
Um, so what did you think of the movie overall?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good, very dark movie I've seen, but it's so real at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I also liked it a lot. I thought that was a really good movie. And this is funny because I watch a lot of reviews out there because if the more you see, the most likely you will make something different and unique because you have seen everything, you know. And I've seen a lot of the Batman reviews because I like the movie The Batman a lot. That's one of my favorite movies ever. That's my favorite Batman movie, even if it may be a hot take. The Batman for me was the best Batman movie. He says the box. Oh yeah, the box. Oh, I think I might have seen it as well. So I mentioned the Batman here because one of the reviews I've seen was complaining the Batman was a rip off of se7en and it was so similar. And I could see after watching se7en where that person was coming from, but I think he did an hyperbole here. He went a bit overboard because I disagree with him. It's not just a ripoff. They did something different, even if it's inspired by it, because it has a lot of similar stuff in it. It's not a ripoff. Hi, SMJ. Welcome to the podcast. It's a comic book podcast slash um, movie podcast. So that's what's going on right now. So welcome to you. So, let's go into that movie a bit deeper. se7en. So, did you have any issues with the movie?
No, no,
Yeah,
I don't.
no issue. That's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Uh,
no issues that I can remember at the moment, but yeah, yeah, I had no issues with it.
okay.
Yeah.
So, mine will sound nitpicky, but I always do that with movies and shows. If it doesn't add up for me, it doesn't add up. So, my first issue is the guy missed them in the hallway. Like he just shot and um he shot at them and he just cannot freaking aim. I hate it when people have guns and they just shoot and they miss. Like it looks like a trope and most of the time it doesn't add up for me. So that's one thing. Another thing and at another point I think it's not that far after that all we've seen. There's another scene where there are guns involved and people miss again. Like I'm like, bruh, if you don't want your character to get injured, don't involve them with guns. Don't let character play with guns if you don't want injured people. It's fake tension if you like don't injure someone, you know, or kill someone. So these were my two issues with this movie. It had a lot of likes. How did you thought the um, the whole mystery was like the investigation? How did you feel about the investigation aspect of the movie?
Yeah, I think that's arguably one of the best parts of the whole movie because I always thought, because obviously it was going for the seven deadly sins. I always thought because the wrath or the one that was more angry, or I don't remember one of them, but I know one of them was probably the wrath one. I always thought was it Brad Pitt? I don't remember, but I always thought, and because he's the one who's always like gets mad and gets triggered really easily, and the fact that he also drinks as well. So that's what I always thought that was like my theory before the review. Again, it does the mystery really well in my eyes.
Yeah. What did you feel about the music in the movie?
The music, I usually don't really talk about the music that much in my reviews because I always thought it's not something I usually pay attention to. I
I
really go on.
I thought the music was really good and it fit well the movie they wanted, the tone, the edginess, if you can call it that way.
Yeah.
Um, I also think the crime scenes, they were like two big crime scenes. Early in the movie, at least, they were well done. They felt real, even if it's fiction, you know. Um, and it's very interesting because in this movie they also address psychological profile of the serial killer, and not every movie like that address the psychological profile well. Like sometimes they go for lazy and easy things, or sometimes they don't really make that much sense. But in this movie, they seem like they did research while writing that part of the story, and this is really good. This is important. Otherwise, don't do it.
Yeah.
The characters are very likable. Which character would be your favorite one?
Um, Probably Morgan Freeman's character. Yeah, his character.
That's very interesting because I think that's the answer of most people. And after watching the movie, I'm a bit torn apart. Um, Either Morgan Freeman or the villain, because the villain won. Just because the villain won in the end.
Oh yeah, the villain. Yeah, I literally forgot the villain won, but yeah, I guess the villain was also pretty likable as well. And yeah, actually, now that you just brought it up, I'm actually more torn because I thought the villain was really well done and stuff.
But
Yeah,
yeah, he wins in the end. Like with the box thing, we are not there yet, but the boxing gave him the win, the W. Um, the investigation was entertaining. The music was good. I feel like I repeat the same bullet points, but that's all I felt as I was watching the movie. The depiction of police job and the backstory of both main character felt grounded. Now, I say that because a lot of people, when they look at cops and stuff, they think it's all about action and they kill, they use their gun very often, they get injured very often. But in fact, cops, they don't see as much action as we could believe because in real life, not everyone has a gun and not everyone is dumb enough to attack cops, you know? Like, these kind of stories they happen in real life, like, but it's not as often as Hollywood or TV shows and movies would like you to believe. It's like in real life, most of the time the cops, what they deal with is like homeless people and like uh, people that wreak havoc. You know, they don't always deal with murders, and even there, like there are some quiet neighborhood, yeah. So that's how it goes. Um, it's not as action packed as people would believe. Otherwise, we would always be out of cops. You know, people would die and like that. So the backstory, the fact that Bold Cop didn't really kill that many people before, feels real. Um,
yeah.
what's your take on that? Do you think the police job was well depicted or not really in the movie?
I think it was well depicted, and yeah, you do have a point that because most police stuff they don't usually deal with like what it's usually presented, even though if that is what they do usually go up against, but that's not the only go up against at all. I mean, they deal with abusive husbands, abusive mothers, abusive wives, abusive parents, those kind of people as well. And yeah, you see, I think one police thing that most people always overlook that they don't always just. I think that's one of the problems in the superhero genre is when they always just have the police. go up against normal criminals with guns, it would make, well, yeah, that part does happen. Those aren't like the only people police usually faces. Um, but yeah, that's something I did like in this film. And yeah, you do have a point.
So I'd like to highlight a comment by Ahmad in the chat. Most movies can be solved if police get involved correctly, and I 100% agree, Ahmad. And I will add my real life experience to it. I'm a security guard. I'm a security guard for like the last 7-ish years. I did took a 1 year break of security job to work in a call center, but as a security agent, I interact a lot with cops, and I also deal with some of the similar things they deal with. And I don't have a gun because in Canada, only cops wear guns. It's illegal. Like there are some tests you can pass to have like handgun and stuff, but it's very controlled, and it's really easy to take away that right after you pass the test and stuff. So it's not as often you will find someone with a gun in Canada. So it's really rare, like the civilian as a gun. Like I know someone that likes guns, and that person is freaking dangerous. I would never mess with that person because he is kind of weird. But by law, he is legit and everything. But um, yeah, it's very controlled here, guns and stuff. So as a security agent, I don't have the right to carry a weapon, you know. And even if I had my test to have a handgun and stuff, I would need to have my gun locked up in my house in a secured thing. I would not be authorized to just walk around with my gun, you know. So it's I actually forgot why I brought this up, but maybe that's because I deal with a lot of homeless and weird people, you know, and I was able to disarm a lot of things just by speaking to people. So we don't have guns store in this country. We don't either. Like it's very niche place where you can have guns, and most of the time they are guns you cannot even shoot with. It's just for collectors and stuff. Um, but yeah, if you just speak to people like they are human beings, you can disarm a lot of situation. And sometimes cops in movies or even in real life, sometimes they don't realize that because they think they have a badge, they can do stupid stuff, and this is when things are escalating. This is just how it goes in real life. Um, just speak to the people the way they should be spoke to, and you should be fine after. So, oh, Cole, how are you, man?
Pretty good. Yeah,
So,
fucking
uh,
internet can go
yeah.
off.
So, DC only had time to watch parts of Gotham Knights, so we decided to talk until you come about everything. And I realized DC had seen se7en, so we were speaking about se7en before you
Oh,
came in. So,
okay, that's good.
um,
But yeah, again, we can discuss that one other film. I've seen like half of it now, but wasn't able to finish it. So I mean, you can talk about it, and when I finish, I
yeah,
can say
well,
some of it, and I can just say the rest of it next stream. But yeah, well, but
well,
anyway, we can talk
we
about
can
se7en now.
keep it for we can keep it for next week if you haven't seen it entirely, because I still
Yeah,
think
well,
we got a
I
lot of
mean, if you're,
topics.
yeah, well, I mean, if you're okay with doing like, because I would, if you do 4 films again next week, then that'd make 5. If not, it would make it 4 though. So if you're okay with that many again, then
Uh, I
sure.
will be
Otherwise,
I will be honest. This week, I had enough time, but I'm bad at managing time, so I only have seen three of the
same.
four.
Same. So you see, that's why you see, that is why I was saving its last minute to watch, but then my power went out for 2 hours right before the stream.
Wow, that's bad.
Yes, yeah, the 2 hours I was supposed to spend watching this film, the game. So I didn't watch the game. I don't know if you watched like
No,
Alien
that's
and
the one movie
Seven.
I haven't seen.
Okay, you see that, that's fine. What we can honestly, what we could do instead is we could just save the Alien films another time. We can just focus on
Maybe
the
next
John
week.
Wick and David Fincher films.
Alien, we can see it next week because I think DC has seen it many years ago. So DC, that's
Oh, okay.
another homework for you next week. If you can watch Alien, and if you can catch up with Gotham Knights or se7en and Lois, that would be like two of the three topics, and obviously the third topic would be the Flash for you, DC.
Yeah.
So if you have time to catch up and watch Alien and the Flash, that would be amazing.
Okay. Well, nonetheless. So you've been talking about Seven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we did speak a lot about it so far. So what's your
Yeah.
take on it? Did you like the movie?
Yeah. So basically, this isn't his, because again, we're doing the Alien films basically because we're going through David Fincher's filmography, and his first one was Alien 3, which is the third one from Alien and then Alien. So we're not watching that yet, which is why we're also going to do that. But his next one after that, which is kind of like more considered his debut film because Alien 3 didn't turn out too well and was mainly like a studio clusterfuck with barely any freedom he was given to make the film, and it was like development and production hell. But we'll get into that another time. Was Seven, and now I'm interested to know what multi-topic's opinion on this is, which I haven't heard yet because I know how much he really loves detective and like police films like and grounded films like this, and also stuff with like a dark tone, stuff like Prisoners.
Yeah.
So this is right up his alley. But
Yeah.
the thing is with multi-topic though is you never know when he might not as much as you think though, because he always notices like police or detective procedures that he says that's not how you do it properly, that other people don't, or other certain things like that. So maybe there's some of that in this, I don't know. But either way, I really love the film, and this is considered one of the best films of all time. I believe it's like in the top 20 on IMDb. It's very dark film, but it kind of really vibrant style there. Amazing editing, amazing acting, and that twist at the end was fucking phenomenal. The last 20 minutes in general, and with Kevin Spacey's character, was just like an 11 out of 10. Yeah, there's so many like Easter eggs and clues throughout the film that on rewatches you notice, and like in the past I didn't like the film as much as other people did. I just thought it was because I didn't, I wasn't as much of a film buff, and I didn't understand certain things watching it on the first time. So I just thought it was just kind of a boring cop movie that became just amazing in the last 20 minutes. But then I rewatched it, and I know it's amazing, and the comedy's fantastic as well. Again, you don't need to be She-Hulk. Fuck you.
Um,
There's so much about this to me that I love, but I would rate it probably like a 9.5 out of 10 at least. But what did you guys think though?
I
I just pause here right now before we move any further because now I changed the title of the stream and this is essential. Cole, have you seen Legends of Tomorrow for fourth season?
For the most part, I didn't watch like the last 2 episodes.
Okay, but you have seen most of it, right?
Yeah, enough where the last two doesn't really matter to me.
Okay, so I will add it. So, okay, you can go on, DC. The pause is done. We can move on now. DC.
what?
You can speak
Yeah, I
about.
think your mic's a little messed up.
Yeah,
Oh, I'll try to leave.
Oh no, it's good. It's good now. Okay.
All right.
yeah. I think it works. Try to speak again.
Hello.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
works.
All right. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, what? What? But yeah. But yeah.
What did you think of Seven DC?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Surprise. I guess it's a huge surprise. Yeah.
So, cool. You are right about me pointing out stuff people don't usually point out. And this movie is actually very smart and really good. So my issues are really nitpick levels, but they still bother me. Um, so I will repeat them because I already mentioned them
Yeah.
earlier. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, I will say though. I mean, for the most part, with like the detective characters, any things that you would say, that's not what they would do, or that's a little dumb. I mean, I do think that was also kind of the theme of the film, though, with especially the Brad Pitt's character, kind of just underestimating the guy, just thinking of him as a lunatic and not doing things properly, and then it backfires on them. So
yeah, but this time around, I agree with you. So that's not my issue. My issue is the gunfights, the firefights. People can't freaking aim, and I marked it down twice. The first time is the hallway, and I think the second time was like in the alley or somewhere like that. I can't really remember when
yeah.
exactly was the second time guns were involved and people
Yeah,
just
well, I will
missed.
say, yeah, that was pretty much the only scene with guns. It was like that whole, yeah, in the hallway when they found him, and then the chase scene
Yeah,
right after. But I will say, as a one defense for that, though, I mean, detective, they aren't really like police officers or more detective work, so they're not really as experienced or trained when it comes to aiming with their guns. And then also the serial killer, as we know, probably wasn't either, with that not being, what he's good at there. So because of that, it is explainable why both of them are kind of bad at aiming there and are missing and running away.
so I will say something. Um, I don't know if it's like that in the USA, but I will explain how it is here in Quebec at least. I don't know about the rest of the Canada, but the way we do it here, uh, the cops like the patroller and stuff, they are like the basic, and then when you're a cop for a few years and you do exams and you can study to be detective, then you can pass the test to be detective, you know. But every detective here, if they work for the police, they were patroller at some time, so they should know how to aim because every patroller trains a lot at the stand to shoot stuff.
To a certain point, but again, in the U.S., like it's the training that goes into a lot of this stuff, especially with regular police officers. It's pretty loose. Like that's why there's so much like just shitty police work done
Yeah,
and fucking brutality and mistakes because of their shit like that. And again, you got a young police officer who's not, detective who's not very experienced, and then an older one who's probably not as experienced anymore or as good with some things. So yeah, but yeah, it's a little different. Like it's probably like less, less, what do you call less, well structured in the U.S. with this stuff. At
okay, I
least with
see.
like the police, at least with like some of the detectives when it comes to certain things like that, and the
Yeah,
police officers. Like I'm sure like FBI agents and stuff are better.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you make good points here. You make good points. So maybe my only issues are not really issues in the end, which is very interesting. That's the point of this discussion. Um, so I already said a lot. I will repeat a few of the bullet points. I liked every crime scene. The characters are likable. The movie is smart. It doesn't pretend it's smart when it's not. It's smart. It's a good movie. The music is also very good, and the depiction of the police job and the backstory of the characters feels real and grounded, despite them not knowing how to freaking aim. Um, so where I was now in my notes, um, the cop meeting is partner wife. So this is basically Morgan Freeman meeting with Brad Pitt wife. I enjoyed that scene a lot because it felt like a real moment between two person that just met, but one person that just needs to talk to someone, and because that person doesn't know anybody, she turned to like her part her boyfriend partner, and I think that was a really good scene, and they did planted the seed to one of the final punchline. Now, I think about that right now. Well, actually, no. I just debunked myself, so I won't point that one out, actually. Um, but, yeah. The whole baby storyline, carrying the baby, was just something hanging there until the last act. Um, the bar scene after the interrogation was good. The villain plea, if it doesn't go his way, was very interesting. Uh, the car scene with the suspect was really good. The
Yeah,
teammate killing the villain felt real. He went nuts.
and it made you think that, oh my, because they said two body, made you think that he was just that they were gonna be the bodies. He was gonna like somehow get on the best of them and kill both of them at the end. The movie made you think, and then that twist.
So, Cole already gave his grade out of 10. Is it fresh enough in your memory, DC, to tell us what would be your grade out of 10 for se7en?
I'd say my grade would be a 9 out of 10.
That's very interesting because I do have the same grade as you. My only issue did waited a lot because, bruh, I'm so done seeing gunfights and gunplays like that where people just cannot freaking aim because the plot wants everyone to survive. Like, it's a trope.
Yeah, well, I mean, to me, as long as they, explain or it makes sense in that scenario like that did, I don't mind it so much. Like, it is a trope, but it's not an annoying trope for me as long as, like, everything around it makes it interesting, and that did, the whole scene and how it played out made it so, like, I wasn't even paying attention to, like, the actual gunfight or fire, and I was paying attention to everything else, and that was intriguing about it, and the whole mystery elements of the guy and everything before and after that, and many other things like that. I thought that made it very intriguing and made it kind of stand out instead of just being a trope for me. Like, again, as long as films like do that well, then I don't care as much. That's also why, though, I don't. When it comes to anime, I like movies more than shows because the shows don't do the best with hiding those tropes. They just stand out like a sore thumb.
So I marked down the timestamp right now. Um, so my grade is a 9 out of 10. And Cole grade is 9.5. And DC grade is 9. So I think we can move on to closing thoughts on se7en before we move on with the stream to other topics. Anything to add, guys?
No, not for me, but also just a heads up. Yeah, while we were talking, I was able to finish the rest of the game, so we can talk about that later now.
The game will actually be next week because the game is the one movie among the four I haven't seen.
Oh, I thought you said it was Alien.
No,
My bad.
that's the game. I've watched Alien first.
Okay.
So yeah, the game
Okay,
is
no, that's good then.
is for next week. Because Because here's the thing: when you give me a list of movie, I usually watch the oldest movie in the bunch, because usually that's the most rough out of them. Usually for me, at least. So I started with Alien this week, and I actually watched John Wick before the game.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Because John Wick was shorter, and I've watched John Wick this morning. So right after work.
Okay, well, anyway, that's fine.
I'll
just write down notes for the game so I don't forget.
Yeah, mark down notes. So we cover it next week. So also, since we are speaking about next week and future week, that could be great if you could plan out the movies for several streams. This way we can give an entire list, so DC can tell us if he has seen any of these movies, or if he wants to see any of this.
Well, I will say, but for now, I can definitely plan out the films for at least the next 1 week or 2 weeks, because again, we'll be covering just pretty much all of the Alien films, at least up till 3. Maybe we'll keep going after that, but it's mainly until we get to 3 with David Fincher's film, and also because after 3, the franchise gets really rough.
Oh,
really fucking rough. But if you want to cover them, so
we need to cover.
Internet? Okay.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, but yeah, you're saying we covered what? Yeah, like Troll 2, so we can cover...
We covered terrible movies, so we will cover every single Alien.
Black Panther.
Yeah, Black Panther is hands down the worst thing I've seen. But,
and then we'll cover all the John Wick films, I guess, with possibly seeing the 4th in theaters or wait until that's digital, I guess, a little while after. And then the, old David Fincher's other films, so we're doing those 3 kind of project things. So that's the main thing. I don't have them like scheduled out yet, but that's what DC can basically expect. Just the John Wick, at least 1 John Wick film, 1 Alien film, and 1 or 2 David Fincher films per week, going by the order of the years of the earliest to latest.
Yeah.
So like for example, if we do 2 David Fincher films, next week it would be The Game and Fight Club.
Okay, that's perfect. We cover Aliens, every Alien movie, and we will cover every John Wick movie. I don't know how long the 4th one will be in theater. You know what? I think I will actually rush through John Wick. Maybe. Do you think you can?
I can recommend the other 2 next week, and then you could the same week watch the 4th or the week after.
Yeah.
It just came out. It just came out in theaters, and also the character. I forgot his name again. The one actor who just passed away. I believe it was John. What was it again? His name? Yeah, Lance Reddick. Like you probably saw him in the first John Wick. He was kind of like the assistant guy to the guy in the hotel, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a nice tribute to him in the 4th film. It was
That's
one of the last
good.
films it was one of the last films he did before he passed away. And,
by the way, next weekend, one of my friends wanted us to go watch Shazam 2. At first, I didn't want to, but because of one of my friends that told me we should go see it, I'm like, okay, I'm willing to go because you're going.
Did you see the first?
Pressure. So,
did you see the first Shazam?
Yeah, that's a topic for next week.
We can cover it then, and also I saw the second Shazam, and I actually liked it, so I didn't like it as much as the first, though, but it was good. It's better than all the other superhero trash that's been releasing.
Okay, that's a good sign. If it's coming from you, maybe it will be good.
So you said next week you're gonna go watch Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
Yeah. So the topic.
Oh, okay. So what we could do then is, if you want, we could cover John Wick 2 and 3, so then you can see the fourth in the theater the same week, and then you can go watch Shazam,
Yeah.
and then we can just discuss the game or move that back 2 weeks. So yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah. So next week we will actually cover both Shazam. We will
Yeah.
cover John Wick 2 and 3. And because I've seen Alien, we can add Alien as a fifth movie.
All right, John Wick 3, and then Alien 2. I remember it's called the sequel's called Aliens from 1986, not Alien 2. Just
Yeah.
give you a heads up there. But anyway, so just in DMs. Okay, so this is what we got.
Because I've
So
already
then
seen Alien, so we can fully cover that next week.
Right, and then yeah, right.
And
And then I guess yeah, the game would probably be moved back 2 weeks then,
yeah,
unless
exactly.
you're able to.
The game.
Yeah, okay, so I'll remove that. And then and then the week prior, what we could do is, I guess we could try to do something like some sort of thing like this, just off the top of my head, for the week after as well.
You can also post it here in the group chat, so DC
Yeah,
can also see it.
yeah, I might edit the schedule again. This is just
Yeah.
off the top of my head. I don't even know if this is like in the right order of release dates and stuff, but just from what you said, this seems like what the schedule would be for the next 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Alien 2 would be not this. Well, next week. Alien 1 next week, and Alien 2 with the same week as the game, because I've seen Alien 1979. That's the one I've seen this week. The one 1979. That's the one I've seen this week.
Yeah. So so you wanted so you saw it, but you wanted to talk about it next week.
Exactly. Except if
Okay.
because that would let DC watch it again if he wants to.
Okay.
And it would be
Well,
part
then
of.
I'm gonna have
yeah.
to talk about 5 films for the next 2 weeks. You sure you can handle this?
I know I can.
Sorry. Actually, gotta remove the.
I know I
actually,
can.
yeah, okay.
Because I've already seen Alien, and yeah, I think I will do it. Like, John Wick was amazing. Anyway, yeah, I think I can handle it. On top of our
Right.
usual comic book. By the way, the Flash is back, so here I will add the shows. The Flash season 9 episode 7. Next one is Gotham Knight, our favorite show. Did you have time to watch Gotham Knight, Cole?
Yes, and
So okay, so these are the shows. So Cole posted the movies. I posted the shows. So okay, I'm looking for it already for next week. So I guess now what we can do, since we are done with 7, is I brain farted here. I'm fried. I'm fried. What I was about to say. Oh yeah. I guess we can move on to what do you want to do next, Cole? Because you have seen everything. What do you want to do next?
I don't know. It's up to you. I mean, did you want to cover
Gotham Knights?
Yeah, I guess we can cover Gotham Knights or Superman and Lois. One of those two.
Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
So,
Again, Legends of Tomorrow don't have too much to say about, because it's kind of the whole show. Each season is kind of the same, but I'm there to say what improved and got worse in though. And after watching season 4, I can definitely tell you which side it leans towards. But anyway, but yeah. So Gotham Knights, I guess.
yeah, I will say this, DC. We don't want to taint your opinion on it. We want your opinion. So thank you for being with us for the first hour. Next week, make sure to watch Gotham Knights if you get the chance.
I will even
Um,
Yeah.
have to watch 3 Gotham Knights
yeah,
episodes
three
or
Gotham
something.
Knights episode because I marked down two,
I'll
but
Yeah,
these are all
I'll
trees.
I'll try to watch.
good luck. Good luck. You'll need it.
I'll
But based on what he has seen, I think he will like it more than us. That's why I don't want to taint his opinion. Um,
Yeah, no, I can see him liking it more, but
yeah,
and I'll be honest, this episode I actually did not hate as much as the first.
really.
There were moments, no, that yeah, there were moments in it that had potential, but of being a competently writ, like at least dialogue character wise, competently written, and story structure wise, and all that. But yeah, it's just again for every single Gotham Knights episodes, we should just check down like every single police scene, police protocol, and the logic in the entire episode making no sense and not being realistic or just too stupid to what they'd actually do in real life. We should just put that as an automatic check for each episode because I can't see that changing at this point because this is just unbelievable the shit in this with that.
Okay,
Uh,
so DC, here again, thank you very much for being with us. Now you are free to go if you have other stuff to do. You have shows to catch up because next week we will cover the third episode. So make sure you watch the first three. And if as I said earlier as well, like if after watching the first two episodes you don't feel like um, you're invested enough to review these, I understand, but if you want to review these, you need to catch up. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, I know.
So
No, I'll try.
I will never force someone into reviewing stuff. That's why I put that disclaimer there. But if you're invested enough to catch up and watch it and review it with us, make sure you catch up. That's the
Yeah,
thing,
I'll
because
try.
I
I'll
because
try to find. Go on.
go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I'll try to find a recap for the first two episodes, and then I'll watch episode three, and then from onwards, we should be able to. I should be able to review. Talk about Gotham Knights. But as well with the movies as well. No, like John Wick second John Wick film and Aliens ones. Um, I think I might have to. What is the word? I don't think I'll be able to talk about se7en Lois though. So
Okay.
I'll
Uh,
yeah.
uh
So one of those shows I think I'm going to have to not watch, but
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I will say this. It would be much better if you watch it for yourself to have an opinion of your own. Because there's the thing, a recap is someone else's opinion, and the idea of this podcast is having people opinion on stuff. So it's more important for us that you really watch it. A recap is not really enough. Well,
yeah,
I speak for myself there, but that's how I see our podcast. It's giving our opinion to help out people if they hesitate on something. They're like, I don't know if we want to see it, and if you base your opinion on a recap, it's like an extension to what the other person said. It's not really what you think. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like that's the thing. That's why try to watch the first two episodes or the first one, and if you're invested enough, watch the first three really on your own. Like as I said earlier, the point of this podcast is not well, it's a discussion, but it's also having the opinion of the person in the podcast. And to have that opinion, that person needs to see that thing, and a recap won't really work. So that's how I see it, and that's how I feel. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
So try your best. I know you're occupied. That's why I say try your best. Um, but yeah, uh, right now you are free to go if you want, because I don't want to taint your opinion on it,
All right.
and like I'd rather you have your own opinion forged by yourself, and then you join us in the discussion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because otherwise we will sound like an echo chamber. If you watch something after you got our opinion, then you may think some things are similar than us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you will echo what we said without really wanting to echoing, just because you spoke with us about it. And I don't really want that. I want you to see it for yourself and have your own opinion to add to our mix, and make it interesting. So here again, thank you very much. Try watch as much things as you can do in the topics, and yeah. Um, Thank you very much. Your channel is in the description below. Do you have anything going on your channel right now?
No, but I do plan to upload the 1st of April. I have an April Fool's video coming up.
That's good. I cannot
Yeah.
wait. Like Gotham Knights is the best show ever made. That would be the
Uh,
best prank.
yeah, but this is actually going to be me talking about one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and it's superhero related. Just and it recently came out, so
That's good.
yeah. So
So
yeah, I'll try.
anyway, have a good night. You have things to catch up to. The topics are there. Take care, man. Have a good one.
All right, same. You too. Bye.
Was I too harsh, Cole, or did I gave honest thought there?
No, honest, but again, so with Gotham Knights, so yeah, basically should just mark that automatically as flaws for each episode. I don't see it changing at all, at least this season. Hopefully it doesn't get renewed though, but it probably will. Because I actually heard an article saying that despite the negative feedback on it and all that stuff, it has actually gotten as many show ratings as high as stuff like HBO's The Last of Us show, which was highly praised and watched, and it's actually being sought after by many studios wanting it to then have it and renew it for a second season along with CW. So apparently, for some reason, this is actually being considered a quality TV show, which I'm just so confused by.
An equality TV show? What the F is that?
I don't get it, but yeah, you would have to like see the fucking like what was that? Where was that fucking article or whatnot? Even talking about it, I'll try to like fucking find it again. It was I believe this might have been. Yes, this was the article. I'll link it to you right now. This is what they said here in this tweet and on this article here. In this tweet.
Despite its poor critical reception, the CW's Gotham Knights show ranks in the top 10 most in-demand breakout series, with the likes of HBO The Last of Us gathering a massive viewership increase. What? Why?
I don't get it, but
Maybe people want
drugs.
to roast it or see
I
it by themselves.
guess people no. Yes, people are hate watching it, and just like Velma, they're unintentionally now making it get renewed because they're idiots. Yeah, this is the perfect reply. I hate. This is the perfect reply to it. Hello. Yep. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, this is. Again, there are moments in this where it's like there are moments and where it could feel like a competent show. The tone of it isn't actually too bad compared to like the melodramatic, cheesy ass tone of other CW shows. I actually don't mind the tone all that much in this, especially and in episode 1. But it is just, God, the execution is garbage. Like, again, the music and visual choices in this are so desperately trying to be like impactful and badass, or like hip and out there, that it's just pathetic. Again, Joker's daughter is still easily the worst character in this. She's literally the new DCEU Harley Quinn type of character with Margaret Robbie, where she just acts like one of those 13-year-old lol, I'm so random and quirky, haha, girls on social media, and can just get away with anything easily while having more fucking plot armor and knowledge on shit than Superman. The actress isn't good whatsoever either, and neither is anyone else in this role, just unlikable and unmemorable. That has the directing style of Birds of Prey, and the action is not good at all. Also, speaking of Superman, I hope there's some sort of storyline with him or his son in this, because that would be hilariously bad. Yeah, so again, surprisingly though, I did not think this was actually as bad as episode 1. And because I thought the pacing or editing was at least a bit better in this, and with the tone, where it was not, not eye-rolling to sit through in comparison to episode 1, which was just like with the unnatural character dialogue and the editing in that, with the fast and shit, and the scene construction in episode 1, it was just so painful, which was surprising because episode 1 should have been the least painful to sit through, with what it was about, before it gets into the dog shit as much, but they pulled it off, well done. But yeah, there are so many points in this episode where, again, the writing and character dialogue is so close to being surprisingly competent. But again, it's like, especially near the beginning, like, even despite hating the character with, like, Joker's, daughter character, with, like, the main character and, some discussions here, it's so close to not being too bad, but then it's like the screenwriters couldn't help but insert their signature fucking trash into it, like, and that just so it's recognizable that it's their fucking trash, and especially at the end of each scene, that's just like, it makes it on par with like Batwoman and other crap. Jesus Christ. Also, I'm just gonna say now, I'm sure the cause of his death in this show will, and just looking at his body, will be something cliche, like it'll probably be something like one of the higher up political leaders, rich people, assholes who are also trying to frame all the kids, broke into his place or hired somebody to and just shot him with like a revolver or something and then fell out the window. Well, after he got back from crime fighting, was in the middle of like taking his gear off with only his mask left on and pouring himself a drink or something, and that one of the younger, and maybe having a storyline like one of the younger side characters was secretly present for it, hiding behind a fucking desk or something, and knows who did it or saw just like a shadow of it, and that's how they tell the story of it. I don't know. That's my prediction for the show, because they're so fucking predictable and lazy. I'm sure it will be some sort of thing like that, but anyway, yeah, this was not good. This was not good. I honestly, I don't know how to like rate. I'm not that I'm giving my number rating for it yet, but my grade for it yet. But I honestly don't know exactly what to rate it as, because it's kind of terrible, but it's gotten to the point now where it's like I've watched so much terrible stuff like She-Hulk and Gotham Knights where I can't tell if me not finding something to be terrible is just it being slightly not as terrible but still bad and still deserves like a 2 out of 10 rating or something, or if it's just genuinely not bad. Anyway, what did you think?
Bruh, this is really bad. Like, really bad. This is funny because following my point system, it's it was mediocre, but the more I thought about the episode and the issues I had, because I got a lot of issues, the worse the episode got.
Yeah,
So,
honestly, I think that's the thing. I think that's actually the reason why this is happening with this show because I think because again, tone wise and everything, it doesn't feel as cheesy or as on the surface as apparently cheesy and terrible as other bad CW shows. You have to actually think about it more and know your shit to realize how fucking horrendous it is. And also because since people expected the worst show in history, the worst TV show in history after that trick and famous first trailer, they probably went into it thinking that, and then it wasn't that. So then they were like, "Oh, it's actually not that bad." It's like, yes, it is. It's just you didn't. It's just not 0 out of 10 bad. It doesn't mean it's good. So I think that's the reason why. Because again, I was on the same boat as you. No, it didn't feel terrible. It just felt mediocrity, which is an improvement and not unbearable. But then you actually think about what happened, the logic in it, and then you're like, oh fuck.
I lost brain cell. um, Side note: predictable love relationship with Willa and Turner. Bruh, the Joker daughter and Batman son will be in a relationship. I don't give a crap.
I hate both characters. I hate all the characters. They're all shit. None of them are interesting. None of them. There isn't a single one that's interesting.
I actually agree with you. So, let's start off with my issues. You did point out a lot of your issues, but now we shall start.
Well, I pretty much pointed out all of them. Again, with this shit, I just like to get it all out of the way, and then you can, shine. And if I think of anything else, then I will. But for the most part, I'm just gonna chill back till the rating.
The music is awful. The dialogue is bad. Carry faster than cops to arrive on the scene of crime. She doesn't have the Batmobile, she has her mother car. What do you think about that issue?
Yeah, well, again, it was such an apparent, obvious issue that it even, I just saw it, the logic there, how she got there to the crime scene first, and I'm just like, I don't even want to point it out because this is just going to be the entire show. I'm just going to have to get used to it. But yeah, again, the music is just fucking. Again, they try so desperately hard to make with the music to make it feel impactful, despite the fact that nothing is really happening at all, or you care about nothing going on here. And the same goes for when the music is more light tone, light-hearted or whatever. It's just all stupid. It's fucking old boy 2013 levels, which we'll watch the original one day, but with an English dub because it's in Korean. But because you definitely have to watch that film, it's a classic. And then maybe you can watch the remake and realize how garbage it is because I meme about it a lot. I make inside jokes about it a lot on comparing these films. So maybe we'll do that one day so you understand what I'm talking about.
Next issue. They repeat stuff we already know to hide the lack of progress in the story. Bad dialogue. Court of all, killing everyone instead of being stealthy. Dialogue. Turner just knows everything you need to know for the plot to move on. Convenient.
Yep, that's the plot armor. You don't need Superman. You just need them. They have plot armor and 5,000 IQ.
Convenient security breach since they didn't change Bruce's code after Bruce died. Not funny despite trying hard. The acting feels off. Boyfriend was annoying early in the episode, but in the end they kind of fixed him by making him stupid and simping for the girl.
The acting is so amateur by everyone. There's no emotion change in anyone. It's just all the same, just neutral faces and sound and voices and everything. Holy fuck! It's actually the kid actor from Artemis Fowl all over again. And I know you haven't seen that film, but yeah, don't worry, just know it's garbage. Fuck. And
Bruh,
again, yeah, it is all just filler, repeating shit to pad the runtime out. And again, when they eventually solve who actually murdered Bruce Wayne and they're cleared, will they ever bring up the people they needlessly murdered for no reason and say, hey, they're kind of not good people too. They're not really exactly heroes because they didn't need to kill them and they weren't bad people really. They were just kind of doing their job or doing what they were told to do, kind of. No, they're not going to do that. They won't bring that up. They'll just be good. Which is, oh god, that was a bad example to say. Just being told what kind of reminds me of fucking Nazis. Jesus Christ. We would just follow an order, sir. Just forget it. Anyway, continue.
So next up is the most interesting thing about my issues. And now this is more of a question. Is there more than one Talon? If not, how does he teleport? If there's more than one Talon, why the second one didn't help out the first one? Remember, they were at a tower thingy, and then he just happens to be where the Joker daughter was trying to sell the thing. That's why I'm wondering if there are two Talon, or if the one Talon they have teleports. Physics in this show, bro. I'm really asking you, are they two Talon, or it's one that can teleport?
I really don't know. I genuinely don't know. Because I honestly didn't care enough to figure out. It's all just shit. I don't care.
Bruh! So, yeah. I think I said enough to point out how bad the show is. I mean...
Yeah. Again, which character is worse out of these just lol, I'm so quirky and random, female characters that are just shit with plot armor out of the ass who are just invincible? The Joker's daughter in this, or Margaret Robbie's Harley Quinn in Birds of Prey and Suicide Squad? Which one is worse?
The Joker daughter.
Huh. Damn, so far. I would still have to go with Margaret Robbie's Harley Quinn because I'd have to see more of Joker's daughter. But yeah, this is they're both just as bad and the same. But yeah, I mean, yeah, just stop it with these characters. Good fucking lord, stop it with these fucking characters. It's sort of like how in gaming, ever since that garbage FNAF game release, there's just been so many post Five Nights at Freddy's horror games where it's garbage when the gameplay in so many aspects, pretty much the whole game. But as long as it has a decent premise idea and has some lore to it, then that's all. Then it will gain popularity, and that's all people care about. It's sort of the same thing here. Now, if you have a fucking garbage like Harley Quinn type character, similar to that now, then yeah, it'll gain popularity. It doesn't matter if it's shit, because people are just into those type of characters now. Like, oh my god, haha, it's so funny, so badass, oh, so quirky and random. Just like, kill yourself. Fucking kill yourself. Jump off a fucking ledge now.
Bruh, remember I said earlier, these are Batwoman writers. Do you remember Batwoman? In Batwoman, they had Alice. Don't you see something similar here? It's their version of Alice, bro. They're like, Alice was the best part of Batwoman. Let's make a new Alice.
Yeah, again, they need to put their signature trash to this as well, that you can recognize from their other shows.
I actually liked Alice a lot. She was the best part of Batwoman.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you try to do it here.
Yeah, you're right. So, I still had a few likes. I will admit it. I'm honest when I review stuff. And here, I admit I had a smile when Robin caught the group doing the burglary. I had a smile, even if it makes no sense that she arrives before the police. I will admit, the lines made me smile. I didn't laugh, I smiled. That's some kind of things I remember from She-Hulk. I had a lot of smile when they pretended it was a comedy. RV Dent is the best part of the show. Again, he is entertaining. He is probably the only good character in the show. The Willa double cross when she betrayed the team. At least they did plant the seed, so it was somewhat smart. I say somewhat because
Yeah.
yeah, don't give too much credit to these writers. I admit, I did laugh at the Willa saying Turner was dumb to help her out. That's at the end of the episode. Boyfriend
I mean,
helping out.
did you at least? Sorry, continue.
Uh, no, continue.
No, I just wanted to quickly say, did you think the tone wasn't terrible in some scenes, like in between the shitty music, like when there was none? Do you think the tone was at least better than usual?
I will say this. The fight scenes were not as awful as in the first episode. It's not in my likes or my dislikes. I just didn't care.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, sorry, but yeah,
Because
continue with the
I
boyfriend character.
look. You
What?
remember last week? All I was ranting and complaining about the fight choreography and how terrible this was.
Yeah.
This week, it wasn't great. That's why it's not in my likes. But it wasn't anywhere near as bad as last week. So I feel they did improve a little bit the fight choreography.
Yeah.
But it's still not good enough. It's still not something I liked.
Yeah, we'll see where what they do further along. I mean, I'm curious who's doing the fight choreography though in the show, and the
Yeah.
fucking dogs are barking. God damn it!
It's not good. I mean, it's better than the first episode. The first episode, like half of my issues were the fight choreography because there were so many terrible fight scenes. And I feel like this episode has as much action as the first episode, but usually when the action, the fight choreography is good, it's in my likes because I like that kind of stuff. So this week it was
I mean,
just
I will say
very
though,
mid.
did you This is just off topic, but I had to quickly ask. You've seen the original, sorry, not the original, but the Tim Burton Batman films, have you?
Yeah, a long time ago, but I did.
Okay, so I just, okay, okay, well, I don't know if you remember him then, but yeah, I just wanted to, ask you though, like, there were two different ones because again they did weird shit in the first and second, and then Tim Burton didn't want to make any more, so they did some recasting and character changes, and then we also sadly never got to see Harvey Dent Two-Face with the one actor from the Batman '89. That would have been cool, but nonetheless, though there were two different like mayor type characters in the '89 Batman and Batman Returns. I just wanted to ask you, that, or even in just like any of the other Batman films too, like the Dark Knight, Batman Begins, BVS, the Batman. Just what do you think of them in comparison to the Commissioner character and or Harvey Dent in the show so far? Because you said those are the two characters you like the most so far in this.
Um, yeah, in Gotham Knights, RV Dent is really
Yeah, like
good.
where would you rank them in comparison to like others from like Batman films or shows like Gotham?
Um, well, it's not the same RV, because Gotham had RV Dent in the first season, but that's the only season I remember having RV Dent. The rest of the show That was RV Bullocks, Bullocks RV. It's two different character. Um, so I think between Gotham Knights and Gotham, RV Dent, I will actually give that one um, Gotham Knights. That could be surprising, but he had like three full episodes as one of the main characters, right? So I think it's unfair to give it to the other RV Den because the other RV Den maybe had like 5 episodes in total in the entire show, and it's hard to compare. Like they're very similar. Uh, so yeah, I think the current RV is like what salvage Gotham Knights, and he is better than the RV Den in Gotham just because he salvaged his own. And the RV Den in Gotham is still very good. I liked him a lot. He was amazing in the episode he was in, but he was a supporting character. While here he is more of a main character in Gotham Knights. So if you miss the mark with the main character, you feel it. We feel it with the the cast we got right now. So yeah, I would give it to Gotham Knight RV Dent. Now, when it comes to movies, I think the current RV Dent is actually better than the one in '89 because I remember the actor face, but not really the role he played and the character itself. I only remember his face, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah. Well, no, no, no. It's because in '89, again, I mean like the commissioner characters in both, or Harvey Dent or Two Face and all that, and just like all of them combined in every film. Not just like specifically any, and because in the Tim Burton ones, it's weird because okay, in '89, again, I believe I forgot the actor name exactly. I'm pretty sure it was the wasn't it yeah, it was Billy D. Williams, who I believe. My, no, that was someone else in those films. Never mind. But yeah, it was Billy D. Williams, though. And actually, wait, was he was he actually the guy who played the one character in Star Wars? Actually, yeah, I believe he was. Okay, but yeah, I mean, I believe he was Lando in the Star Wars films, if you've seen or remember those, but
yeah,
same actor. But yeah, he played him in Batman '89, Harvey Dent, and then he was gonna be Two Face coming up in the next one. But then because they decided to do different things in the story and in Batman Returns and stuff like that, they put him on the side and then introduced that other different like commissioner type character in Batman Returns, the guy who was like, made to deal with Penguin in the sewer and pushed
yeah,
Catwoman off, out of the window. So, and then and then Tim Burton, and Michael Keaton didn't want to do any more after the second, so then that all fell apart, and then it became a mess, and then the studio wanted to do more though, and then they hired that one director, and then they made Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, which were
yeah. Two
yeah, we're not gonna
abomination
talk
of a
about that.
movie.
Yes, and they were
Eventually,
also just completely different too. And then, but then also, I believe I forgot if it was fucking in the Batman Forever or Batman and Robin, but they eventually had like Two Face, I think, in that as Harvey Dent, but with a different actor. And yeah, it was bad, but yeah, nonetheless though. So yeah, I'm not nonetheless. I'm not talking about like specifically Harvey Dent and Two Face. I just mean, or even that. I just mean any commissioner character, any character who played at least Harvey Dent or Two Face, or both. Just any of them. Just in any of the Batman films like that, and the Dark Knight, and all of them. Just
yeah.
where in comparison to all of those actors and their performances. As any commissioner type character like Batman Returns or as Harvey Dent or anything, where would you rank the person in Gotham Knights so far out of all of them?
I think he would be second.
Damn,
Uh,
that high. Wow, you really like him.
yeah, my favorite one is the one from the Dark Knight, the one that really became a Two Face. That was the
Yeah,
best
I mean,
iteration.
yeah. To me, I liked him as Two Face. I didn't like him as Harvey Dent before that, though. I thought his character was a little cheesy and his line delivery, his lines were over the top. It's like they were trying to really be comic book iffy with like his, especially like in court and when we had like the pistol and stuff and delivering those lines in the courtroom and to the judge while slamming the gun down. It's just it was so over the top in a bad way to me. I
That's why I
liked him
liked
as
him.
two. Yeah, I didn't like it as much though. I thought it was cheesy in a bad way. But then him as actual Two Face, I did like, and his lines there.
So where would you scale the Gotham Knight RV Dent?
Uh, honestly, around fourth, which is out of there's been like around 8, so 4 is really good. I've actually been really enjoying him so far.
That's good. He is one good thing about this show. I will say this.
Yeah.
Like they nailed that character. It's shocking to say that from a Gotham Knight from the Gotham Knight show, but
Yeah,
they
but
nailed
anyway,
that
what else
character.
did you have to say though? With you were gonna say something about the boyfriend character.
I got two other likes. The boyfriend helping out Turner in the end. I can't remember. Boyfriend helping out Turner in the end. Oh yeah, the boyfriend of the girl that was annoying at first, and then he cannot accept going in jail for his girlfriend. Like I thought that was fine. That redeemed a little bit that
Yeah.
atrocious
And then what was
character.
your last thing?
My last thing was Robin taking off a page. Now, I like that because that shows how much respect she has for Bruce. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. It can go wrong if this is a reason to have some drama about lies and trust. And I'm scared this will happen. When Turner finds out, it will be all crazy ape shit at Robin for doing that. And this will bother me a lot. But in this specific episode, I'm fine with it. I'm like, that's fine because that showcased that Robin does care a lot about Bruce, and Bruce didn't want Turner to learn about that. So these are my thoughts. I guess we can move on to the grade and the closing thoughts on Gotham Knights.
Yeah, I guess I'll give it like a, I don't know, a 2 out of 10. So it wasn't a 1 out of 10 like last episode for me. I did not hate it as much. And I don't know if I'm being too harsh with the 2 out of 10. Again, it's really hard to grade and judge like if my brain has just gone and so swollen with these bad She-Hulk and Gotham Knights episodes and shit where terrible but not 1 out of 10 quality is somewhat watchable for me at least now or what, but yeah, so I'll just give it 2 out of 10 to be safe. But yeah, there were some redeeming things and some things that had potential, but overall it still fell completely flat for the most part. So yeah, but again, a laughably this is a laughable show to watch in all the bad ways, but as a kind of a guilty pleasure though, with how yeah it is so bad, it's so terrible. It's kind of fun to watch. So I guess that's where the watchable aspect comes with this show. I guess not because it's somewhat decent like other CW shows that are better. So yeah. Anyway, what's your rating?
So following my grid, it first had a 5 out of 10, but as I said earlier, the more I thought about it, the less it was a 5. And then I marked down loses 2 points because of the dialogue and the contrived story. Now, you know what's contrived. The guy teleports if he doesn't have a twin.
Yeah.
And if he has a twin...
So would that make it around like a 2.5 maybe?
No. The final score is a 3 out of 10.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
this is an
Well, you know,
improvement.
I expected a 2.5 because I thought you were knocking off some points for
No, it's
outside of the other 2 points for the dialogue and stuff.
actually that could be a thing. But here's the thing: this episode was better than the first one. I will agree with you on that.
It was.
The first one was a 2 out of 10. So for me, like, I think a 3 is
For
a
me, it was
big
like a
improvement.
1.1 out of 10.
Bruh, we are roasting the crap out of it. It's really a bad show. It's our new shield, and this is why
Yeah.
I said DC needs to watch it to be part of this discussion, because if he likes it, we need to have his true opinion. You know, I don't want him to hold anything up because he will be different. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want
Yep.
his opinion to
Basically.
change because we didn't like it. He has every right to like it, and this is
Yeah.
part of what makes it good.
Again, I see him. I do see him kind of liking this. Like, again, I can understand. Like,
Yeah,
again, all the roasting aside, I can, unlike other shows such as She-Hulk, where I can not understand for the life of me how anyone could find it remotely funny or like it at all. Like, you'd have to know nothing about like comedy shows to think it's good. Like, it is, like, even just as a filmmaking, writing, etc. standpoint, it's like it's made like a car commercial with how just soulless it is. Like, I can definitely understand though where somebody would be coming from if they said they're personally not kind of into it though.
yeah,
Because once again, unlike other CW or just terrible shows, the tone of it and everything is kind of safe this time, and it follows a pretty basic, like, story thing, and with the characters and like what needs to happen, and it still has like it's still trying to do the visual style and everything of, like, of Gotham City, and it follows some things from the comic books, and if you haven't seen the Gotham Knights type of story before, then you might find this interesting. Like, again,
yeah.
if you don't care as much about like certain if you don't care as much like me about, like, looking into, like, and knowing about like film aspects, like, oh, is the editing bad, is the cinematography bad, like, if you don't care about technical stuff like that, and you just like on the surface, like a basic, just watching it basically like this for the story and everything, then I can understand it. I still think even in those regards, though, it's pretty bad, but still I can understand. And I think, again, if he liked stuff like I think he even said he liked Titans before. I don't remember some shows like that, or Arrow,
Arrow,
like
yeah,
that one season of
that's
Arrow
Arrow.
that you didn't like.
Yeah,
Yeah, like if he's like stuff like that, then I'm sure he'll like stuff like it, then I'm sure I think he'll like this a lot more.
yeah.
And because it's also not like Legends of Tomorrow, which he didn't like.
Speaking about legends, that's the next topic. Because I feel like we need to
Yeah,
keep Superman and Lois and John Wick last, because these two are really good. So
yeah,
we get rid of the
yeah. I'll
trash
be
before.
honest. Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought I was gonna have a lot more to say about the show once it got to season 4, because it would at least be fun to roast, but not really. Again, just the same show, same elements, same everything that I've said before about every other season. But yeah, in season 4 though, you're right. It definitely starts being terrible now. But um, here's the thing. What confuses me though is when I'm looking at it online though. The only time the show has really just online when I look at it, it got really low ratings from everyone in the community with season 6 and season 7, but for some reason season 4 and season 5 don't actually have those type of low ratings from people. It actually has kind of the same as like season 3 and season 2 and season 1, which kind of confuses me. I don't understand what they're smoking, but okay. But I'll be honest though, it kind of maybe some people just can't understand the shift in quality. Like, I mean, Apparently, that's the case with The Walking Dead because, like, apparently a lot of people, but the majority of people somehow didn't realize the ginormous drop off in quality from The Walking Dead season one in comparison to then literally every season of The Walking Dead after that when they lowered all the costs and fired the director who did the Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile, and The Mist and all that. But nonetheless, I can understand. The one thing that's kind of disappointing to me though about this show, you know, being so poorly made and not, good though, that is because I think it does have good ideas and like again, each episode has like a different genre or theme to it, and it's something that again, if people were who actually know what they were doing, and especially with like the production design and costume design and cinematography, all those three things would, God, complete waste. Like if you're gonna do a show like this and do that type of thing, you need to hire those people in those three aspects who know what they're doing, and also makeup and hairstyling, or it's just pathetic. But yeah, like it is a great idea and a great concept and can be very interesting and can is something that can never really get bored, with how much you can do with it and with how so it's sort of like Doctor Who kind of like how they travel to so many different time, places and timestamps and worlds and and things based on real life, like an episode where they got to meet what was his name again? Vincent. Uh, that painter Vincent. Yeah, Van Gogh. Before he died, and he got to like teleport into the modern world where he saw his paintings in museums, and realized how much people loved them and his work. So yeah, there's a lot, potential here on what you can do with a show like this, sort of like with Doctor Who is what it kind of reminds me of, really what you could do, and especially with the characters, there's a lot you could do with the characters in those worlds, which they try to do visibly in each episode, but just fail because there's nothing to them, and with the writing being so lame, and it's just also disappointing. It's like you can do so much in this. Like this is a show I really want to be into. Like I can understand why someone could be into it. It's just they give me nothing to work with, and it's painful because I want to like a show like this. They give me nothing, and it's so annoying. But yeah, there's really this is a pretty uninspired, piss poor season, and again, it has gotten to the point now where they have done the same things and kind of like the same time frames over and over again in the show as well, and compared to what they could have done throughout each season that got it, like there's the feel of this, and each episode, God, feels no different than like everything that happened in season 2 and season 3. It's just it is getting so repetitive and boring, and because they're not doing anything refreshing or actually good, it's just yeah, it's a bore to get through, and yeah, it sucks. But yeah, that's about all I have to say. Again, nothing too much to go into detail with the aspects and stuff because it's all basically the same as I mentioned in all the other seasons, but except which side it leans towards, and the side it leans towards in this season for like 90% of aspects is definitely terrible for this season. But yeah, not as terrible as I thought. The way you were describing though was like She-Hulk level. um I would say it's definitely better, but than something like She-Hulk, but still really bad. But yeah, anyway, what did you think about this season though?
Okay, before we dive deep into my take on the fourth season, I will say this. Um, while I was recording my retrospective, I took a look at the viewership, and the viewership dipped a lot that season. And then They maintain a core audience for like season 4, 5, 6, and 7, but it's nowhere near as high as what it used to be. And this is funny because
So that makes sense with the rate. Okay, that makes all sense then.
here's the thing. Uh, the first 3 seasons were liked by pretty much, well, maybe not the first season, but season 2 and 3 were liked by pretty much everyone. And I did talk
Yeah.
to a lot of people because I'm on a Facebook group. I am in 2 Facebook group actually, Arrowverse related, and I did talk around, and most of the DC's Legends of Tomorrow fans, most of them that really stick around to the end, they don't really like the superhero genre anymore. This is why they liked DC's Legends of Tomorrow. And this is why that was basically the core audience. And they got the audience they wanted. Because it's obvious by season 4 they don't want to do a superhero TV show anymore. Because,
It actually just feels like they're going full Doctor Strange, or sorry, Doctor Who.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was talking about in reviews and videos and stuff. And the same people that like Legends, they like Doctor Who. So that's what happened with Legends. Um, Now, I do think it's as bad um, as She-Hulk because the characters they lost their identity in season 4. They don't feel like separate character anymore. The only character that really gets something is Nate because of his development with his father and stuff. That's the only thing that really mattered that season. Maybe John Constantine as well, becoming a legend and stuff. Actually, Constantine and Nate are the only 2 good characters in season 4, and it's a shame because I said it in season 3. I liked a lot Eva, Sarah, love interest and stuff, and I didn't mind their relationship in season 3. That was actually a good relationship that made sense. But then in season 4, we have that episode where they freaking go in a IKEA, or I don't know the name of where they were, but regardless, it was all about their relationship, and that episode was godly terrible. Terrible. Um, Also, another really bad episode that really damaged Constantine as a character. Um, so the episode I'm talking about is the episode where Constantine kept going back in time, trying to fix his messed up, and Constantine was always depicted as a really smart character, and he is able to man up. He is able to assume the cost of whatever happened. But in this episode, it's like they didn't consider that at all. The writer, they didn't know or understood Constantine. They just wanted to have Constantine being the main character, but they didn't want the character himself. They just wanted the actor to go through that adventure. And this pissed me off so much. That was, I believe, episode 8 or 9. That was one of the worst episodes in the entire show because I felt like that was a character assassination of Constantine. Now, I don't know if you're back. If you're back, I'd like to have your take on that. I'm really curious to see what did you thought of the Constantine-centric episode where he kept traveling back in time, trying to like patch up things with his previous lover and stuff. Um, so keep that in mind for when you're coming back. I really want to have your take because you have seen the same thing as me, and I think you enjoyed Constantine in the 3rd season. Maybe I'm wrong. I know you did enjoy the character in his show, even if his show is not that great.
Oh no no no! His episode was the best in that.
That was your favorite episode?
One of them, yeah.
Okay. But yeah, in season 4, uh, did you like the episode centered around him when he He kept traveling back in time.
Um, Honestly, for the most part, yes, it was still not like still the one of the weakest episodes of Legends of Tomorrow's in season three is still not too far off from the best like 2 or 3 episodes in season four, including that one because it's that much of a downgrade the seasons are starting to come since season four now, as you said. But that Constantine episode, but overall yes. But if it was just another Constantine episode like in season three though, then probably no, because of how the other episodes were as well and written with all the other characters. But because it's kind of just completely centered around him almost with that stuff, yeah, it I would say yes, because it was kind of just like a one-man show for the most part with him in that episode to me.
Yeah. Also enjoy Nora because Nora changed a lot since season three because of Ray Palmer, and
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. Now my really big issues with this season is the Mona character. What did you thought of the Mona character? The girl that feeds the animal and that falls in love with one of the creature.
Uh, didn't really care.
So I hated the guts out of that character, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's just an insert of one of the writer. One of the writer wanted to be in the story, and that writer created Mona, and Mona was obnoxious. Oh my, I could not stand her. Like, uh, that's funny because I did a tier list of every episode of Legends of Tomorrow, and at some point I was like, I will make a rule. When Mona appears, you're F tier automatically. And most of season 4 went to F tier. Like, it's. That character is the worst thing of the Arrowverse. It's the worst character the Arrowverse created. She
Even
is.
worse than Felicity, or however you say her name.
Yeah, Felicity. Season 4 Felicity was bad, but she was better than Mona. Mona
And you said
is.
it was like the worst character prior in like Arrow and the Arrowverse, so this character is even worse to
Yeah.
you.
And
Yep.
even if I dislike Allegra, even if I dislike Allegra in The Flash, I still think Allegra is better than Mona. Mona is just. Bruh.
Well,
Mona.
honestly, you shouldn't even put her in a F tier. You should just put a tier below F tier that just has her name as a tier and then put her in it.
Mona tier.
Yeah, below F there, and then yeah.
And this is funny because season 5, she comes back in one episode. And this is hilarious because that one episode, she was so much better than season 4, but she was still terrible. So they improved her, but she's still a trash character. um, Another issue with Legends season 4, it's not funny. There are many failed attempts at making me laugh. They try really really hard to be funny, but it's not. And we did speak a lot about filler episode here and there in TV shows in general, and I feel like the entire season is filler. And most of the episodes are filler; they don't matter that much. And I will add a bit more to this. Um, it's not it's that season was too long. I think that season was like 16 episodes, 15 episodes, but I feel like that season could have happened in 8 episodes. It's how bad the filler went. Um, yeah, Constantine was the best part of that season with Nate, but even Nate, it wasn't that great. It's really Constantine. And Constantine at that point still feels like Constantine outside of the episode centered around him. Uh, it still is an outcast. I mean, he doesn't cosplay like the others. He's just with his suit, lighting cigarettes, and that's what I like. Um, the villain, Neron, was godly terrible. It was an awful villain. And it's not because of the actor fault, it's really the writing of the villain. The villain is one dimensional. Oh, vengeance. That's how I do my vengeance. Oh, I'm evil because I'm a demon. There's no layer, there's no rich backstory or anything. It's just a big bad for the sake of a big bag. Big bad. There was also one of the worst episodes in the entire show where people start singing about love. Do you remember that one? I think that was like episode 12. That I was rolling my eye. That thing is it's godly awful. Do you remember which episode I mean?
Why? I know you love musicals.
It was a Bollywood episode, and that episode was so terrible.
You know, I'm just saying. Eventually, when it comes to movies, I'm gonna not intentionally probably, but just when going through certain directors' filmographies, I'm gonna reckon there's gonna be times where there might be some that are kind of like musical films, sort of like Babylon. And I'm just saying, one of these days, maybe multi-topic will like a musical, not hate a musical, and
Well,
that will be the day that the world, that we solve world hunger and world peace.
well, Babylon Issues was not really the musical aspect to it. That was like
Yeah, well,
everything else.
that wasn't really a musical. I mean, the director did do another that was an actual musical, though, La La Land, and then he did another music-oriented one before that called Whiplash. But that one's amazing. I think you'll like that one when we eventually watch it. But
That's good. So I think that fourth season is a major step down in the wrong direction. Uh, it was too long. It was bad. What else? Oh yeah, Zari wants to change her past again because she wants to save her brother. It's like the 10th time someone wants to change the past. Can we have another storyline, please? Is it too much asked? Um, Now, I will say this: Nate storyline was fine. It was emotional, the father death and stuff, and the relationship was good. It felt like a father and son relationship. Um, it's also funny how they want us to have a shapeshifter, but that shapeshifter doesn't shapeshift. Amazing, right? It's Legends in a nutshell. You get a character with powers, but you don't let that character use their powers. So yeah, that's Legends fourth season. For me, it was really bad. It was the first of many bad season in a row.
Yeah, for me, this is at best it's a 3 out of 10, but it's probably even lower than that.
We have the same grade. I gave that season a 3 out of 10. It was really bad. Um, I remember
Even then, though, I
giving
feel like I'm
Shield
being
around the
I
3
feel
out.
like I'm being too nice though with a 3 out of 10 rating, but I'll leave it at that for now, and maybe I'll change it later on. But yeah,
Yeah, like season 5 is worst. Like much worse. And it's funny how season 6 is universally hated by most people. This is very funny because even the core fans that will like any trash TV, they didn't like season 6. But this is funny because I feel like season 5 and 6 are equals. And season 6 had one good thing, and that's the Constantine storyline. That's like the best thing about season 6. But it doesn't salvage the show at all.
yeah.
And I will say this: there's light at the end of the tunnel. season 7 is better than 5 and 6, but it's still not really good.
Yeah.
And also, I will add in the topics for next week. Um, Crisis on Infinite Earth. That's the next crossover. Um, we will not cover season 5 of Legends yet, because season 5 of Legends picks up after a big uh, crossover, and this is Crisis on Infinite Earth. It's like the sequel to Elseworld, the crossover we covered last. Um, so I will send you the list of the episode you will need to see. This is 5 episodes. I think you will be able to.
Yeah, just remember to send all the episodes in order.
Yeah.
DMs as well.
So
Like
I'll
again, if you're able to try to like maybe position them like in the text in the other message above, because I think that's easier for me to read instead
Yeah.
of on like one line. If you're able to.
Yeah. Do you think outside of these 5 episodes, do you think you will be able to watch at least the first half of season 5, or it's a bit too much?
Of what?
Of season 5 of Legends. Season 5 of Legends is 14 episodes, maybe not the entire thing, because that
Okay, listen. I've seen all of the every film that we're covering this week and next week. I've pretty much seen now, so I can cover all of season 5 of Legends and then season 6 the week after, and then the other episodes or crossovers. That's all fine.
Okay, so perfect.
Just position it though, like the text in my message. Position it like that if you're able to,
Yeah.
and you know all the episodes and seasons and whatnot for both next week and the week after, along with the films together, and then send it to me in DMs instead of the group chat, so then it's easier for me.
Yeah,
To,
I will do so.
see.
So we cover season 5 next week, and
Yeah.
we will cover the crossover as well.
Right.
Season 5 is 14 episodes. That's one good thing. That episode is shorter, but that season is rough.
And then let's see. So, what else do we have to talk about? So, because Aliens not this week, so we have Superman and Lois, and then John Wick 1, I believe, left to talk about.
So Superman and Lois.
Okay. Right. I will say I'm kind of this episode. Um, I would say the first half of it, I think was on track of being a bit better than episode 1 of the season so far. But then I think in the second half there was a lot of things that were just and padding out the runtime, and that I just didn't like as much, like dialogue wise and stuff, and was kind of getting weaker. And then but then there was some stuff near the end that was really good. And overall, I would say this episode was about the same as season of episode 1 for me. Both good. With the music, I'm not sure how I think completely about the music in this episode. The opening music was a bit weird. I can't tell if it's because the reason why I say it is I can't tell if it's like an original score and that they've used in other episodes before in the show. I don't remember, but I think it kind of copied the score at the end of Inception, the famous Hans Zimmer song. So that threw me off a bit, and then I don't know if I really like the music in the other places in this episode as much. And then the writing in this, for the most part, was more towards Stargirl's writing in a good way this episode, so that was good, I guess. But then I think the writing in the other places in the second half wasn't the best.
Yeah.
The also that one character at the party who starts to pick on the main character. I'll say, yeah, I thought that was kind of lame because I was interested in that conflict and what they were gonna do with it because I knew that was gonna happen. Like he was gonna be some like bully character and stuff like that. But the way it was done, I thought was really lame. You could have done some interesting shit with him, and how it all starts, and that's realistic. And then I'm just like, really, they go with that? Like, it's honestly making me compliment Fablemans, even though I didn't like the film that much. Like how they did, the bully characters and conflicts and that. Because Jesus Christ, I did not like that part, and the dialogue I thought there with him is just so fucking cheesy. Yeah, that was kind of shit there, but anyway, the editing though, I had some issues with the editing in the first episode. I thought it was an improvement in this one, and also that
I think you're a bit
reveal.
too far. I hear you, but I hear you really low.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. I think. Oh shit. Is that better?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah. Sorry,
thousand
sorry,
times
but were
better.
you able to hear me for the most part though, with all the other
I
stuff?
aired parts of it, not everything.
Sorry, but anyway, so you heard me, explain the one character at the party though.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, well, and then, okay, so I won't repeat all that, but yeah, I just thought that was kind of lame how they did that. Thought it could have been interesting. It kind of did it better in the Fablemans, even though I didn't even like that film that much. But yeah, just thought that bully character at the party and the dialogue was lame and unrealistic. Could have done a better job with all that story aspect. Was really disappointed there with him. But
yeah.
anyway, and then the editing, again, the editing in this episode was a big improvement from the editing in episode 1, where there were some shit cuts and stuff like that. And then, yeah, also the big reveal at the end with Lois was done fantastically, in my opinion. That was really good. I think that really made up for some flaws in the second half of this episode with
Yeah.
some of the weaker writing and stuff like that. So yeah, and also the conflict back and forth with the legal system and all that was good in points, and other points it was getting a bit repetitive and repeating, but for the most part it was pretty good. Overall good episode, again, just like episode 1. Improved in some areas, other areas then kind of dragged the episode down a bit for me, but yeah, I think I kind of like it a bit more than episode 1 a little bit, even though there wasn't really like any action or as much going on in it, and even though the characters mostly stayed the same place in comparison to episode 1, where they went to a lot of different places around. But yeah, uh, overall enjoyed it, and also yeah, I cannot wait for them to end Superman and Lois at season 3, but then do 20 seasons of Gotham Knights. I'm so excited for that. Yippee. Anyway, yeah, what did you think of this episode?
That episode was amazing. I had no issue at
Oh yeah,
all.
also I completely forgot. Yeah, well, I didn't like the music as much. Yeah, the performances by everyone was fantastic, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. A fantastic performance. I think that was a much better episode than the first one for many reasons. I have no issues, as I said earlier.
Yeah.
So let's
I
dive.
mean, do you think, I have to ask, do you think that, one character is going to return later who was at the party and talking to her? Do you think he's going to return later?
Yeah, I've seen lots of theories around. Uh, I've heard that was probably Natalie cousin from her Earth, but she never really met him. Or I've also heard that it was possible it may be the son of Bruno Mannheim.
Damn.
So that's what I heard around. So I do think that kid will come back.
If that was the son of him, that would be interesting theory
Yeah,
there. Shit.
yeah. Um, so let's dive deep into it. The opening scene was great. I remember it being great, but that's funny because I actually forgot what happened.
Yeah,
Um,
no, it was great. I was like, damn, this is as good as Stargirl. Finally, some good writing again in a CW show.
Natalie character was very good as usual. John Henry Iron, very funny scene. Um, so that was, oh yeah, I remember that was when Natalie was asking John Henry if she could leave the house. That was hilarious. Um, George Death, that's the previous mayor, dying there on the car while Lana is just talking to the phone. So it's very interesting, and I feel like they plant the scene, the seed. They plant the seed at Lana maybe stepping down from the role of mayor by the end of the season. Um, but we'll talk more about that as the season goes on, and maybe later on today we will see. Um, Clark and Lois talk while waiting for the judge. I enjoyed like Clark and Lois chemistry is great. The scene they share feel real with character that care about each other and actors that played the role well. The brothers talking about moving on, that felt like a really great moment shared between brothers. I like that a lot. Um, I like the new actor. Is he better than the other? I don't know. I just think he has some big shoes to fill, and he does fill the shoes. He is doing really good job. He has good material, and he does good job with the material he is given. The mystery about the release was really good. It's clearly linked to Bruno Mannheim and stuff. The party had several funny scenes. Um, I've heard a lot people saying it was the weakest part of the episode. I can see where everyone is coming from, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's Superman and Lois, and since the kids are like main characters as well, like um, at least Jordan and Jonathan are, uh,
Yeah.
give them material, and that's their way of giving material,
Yeah.
and
I
that
mean, I thought it was really good at parts. I just thought the execution again was a little poor at other parts, and again that one character, and then he throws the car of near the
yeah.
at the end. I just thought the dialogue they gave him and or his performance, either one, and just his little character was just really cheesy, and they could have done a better job there with that character at the party, and the conflict and shit.
So I marked down. I like how different both twins brother are. Feels realistic and real. I say that because Jordan is more of a reclusive person that doesn't go toward others, and Jonathan is really the reverse of that. And that dynamic you can see and tell. Like Jonathan fits in well with others. He's able to speak to people, and when Jordan tried to speak to people, he's dismissed. People just ignore him. And I will say that I can relate to both because as a teenager I was just like Jordan, but as I became older I changed and I am more like Jonathan now, but I can see like that being a
I
thing.
was kind of in the same boat as well, when I was younger, and then I think part of it was slow development, but yeah.
So next up, Natalie. She is very interesting. I enjoy her character a lot. Um, Next up, the judge being by the ledge, wanting to die. That was dark and it felt real because that was her struggle. Like they will kill me, so I'd rather kill myself. It's like
Yeah,
choosing.
that I really like that scene. Again, there were parts in the scenes where going back and forth with with yeah Superman and yeah them discussing all that stuff with her. But yeah, and some of them where I really liked, some of them I thought was getting a bit repetitive. Well, not repetitive. I just didn't do as much. A bit kind of filler, I would say. But
Yeah.
to pad it out. But then that this scene there, holy fuck, that was really good and really well executed.
Bruno Mannheim is a great villain. He doesn't seem to have any powers, but he is a threat and he is not scared by Superman. It
He's like the good version of Red Death.
yeah, exactly. He is a threat. He is menacing. He is dangerous, and he can feel it. Like he doesn't need power. He just has that presence. It's a well written villain. The talk with Bruno Mannheim, he feels threatening despite not looking like he got power. Lois talking to Judge on the balcony, John Henry Iron talking with Lana, so I feel like they will ship them together. I don't care about relationship as long as it doesn't take away to the show. Like, why is it so important to give everyone relationship? I don't get it. Um, the party,
Yeah, I noticed that in CW shows they feel the need to try to keep doing that, and I'm like, sometimes it's better off not to. It's like
yeah,
in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, it's like God, if it was a CW production, then in between. In between fucking Peter Parker having issues with Mary Jane, they would have him fucking like dating the daughter of like the of the apartment guy in the place he's staying at, instead of them just being fucking friends. Like Jesus Christ,
but that's
it's
funny
like
because you say
whoa.
CW. I see where you're coming from because a lot of the show does that, but I
Yeah,
always think of Stargirl and I'm like, the only true like big relationship that really had something was Cameron and Courtney in the third season. But that was a really good relationship that felt real.
yes, I agree. Like the other ones in the show, like what was her name again? But who had like the goggles? It's like I completely
Bet,
forgot.
Bet
I
she didn't.
completely forgot about that because there was nothing there.
Yeah, Bet didn't add any boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever.
Yeah.
Yolanda didn't add any.
Uh, and I've also noticed that it's in God even other shows that I've really loved as well. It's like they've been doing it in so many shows, and I'm just like especially shows like drama shows with like certain workplaces, and I'm just like no, you don't need to do it. It can just be a group of people who are great friends. Where you don't need to then also have like a bunch of them then get together. It's like you don't need to keep doing relationships just for the hell of it. You
Yeah,
don't need to if it goes well with the story, sure. But it's like they think if there's oh my god, like if they think there's any like one female and one male character in a show that isn't in a relationship, then nope, that can't happen. We need to do something about it. It's like no, you don't. No, you fucking don't. Like imagine if the Office did that. Like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, let's continue.
Sarah as a character is actually much better this season than last season. I will admit it. Last season I was kind of bothered by her a lot, but this season she feel more like a normal teen than that annoying girl they wanted her to be. John Henry Iron investigation was good. Bruno Mannheim backstory was amazing. It was well told, and that's one of the few things, or I should say, that's one of the few times where I don't mind being told instead of showed, because it was well told by a good actor with a good script to work on. Um, Lois' emotional reveal that she got cancer. Clark talking to Lois about her having cancer. The guy that um, I actually forgot what it refers to. The reveal of the Masked Girl killing John Henry Iron from Superman and Lois Earth. So that was a very interesting reveal. Lois telling the boys about her cancer was emotional. And here again, if that was Eric Wallace, they would just copy paste some of the lines and make her tell again she has cancer to the boys. But because we got Superman and Lois writer, it just show us the scene with the boys learning about it. They don't need to say a word because the writer, they expect a smart viewer that can understand what's going on. And this is a big contrast to the Flash because the Flash, the writer, they think we are too stupid, so they need to spit every intel information. Like it's crazy the contrast. Like put that side by side, two shows running at the same time, made by different people. Superman and Lois, it's just doing amazing. What did you thought of that? Just them showing instead of telling us twice that she has cancer.
Yeah, well, yeah. Again, that's what shows and films that with a brain actually do. But then there's a lot of shows and films that are shit that keep repeating the information and just keep repeating or keep saying a bunch of exposition that doesn't need it. Like again, the visual storytelling is so important in films, and it really judges like a average film to a great film. Like again, we like one, and same thing with average show to a great show as well. This is a good example to this in comparison to something like The Flash to me, or Arrow to me personally at least. But also as a film example, like again, we watched one film recently, like to Leslie. It was and again, like the fact that they held off the information in the videotape, in the intro, like they cut it off. They cut it off like halfway through, and then later in the film replayed it with the characters of her winning the lottery, and then only revealing then that she wanted to start up a restaurant was smart because it was smart holding back information like that, not exposing everything yet, or it would just be predictable, and just waiting until it gets there, and also the scene with her, again looking from the inside of the abandoned place, like it was like a moment of like clarity, finally, like looking from the outside in or whatever, from in or whatnot, and just all that visual storytelling there, not saying a word about anything, just like showing visually the meaning of that scene, and realizing not to just run away from everything. And same can be said in scenes with this and dialogue like this, with not repeating things. But again, some fucking shows and CW shows don't do that, but stuff like this does, and that's why they're good. Unlike Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights, the worst thing ever made. Side by side with Shield. Maybe come closer. Like I understood what you said the most, what you most likely said, but maybe come closer again because you were coming low at some point.
Oh my god, I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting. God damn it.
Now it.
But anyway, if you turn up the volume on stream, then you'll hear it. Anybody watching, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
yeah. Just again, anytime I'm standing backwards and you can't hear me as well, just don't be afraid to interrupt me
Okay.
instead of letting me talk for like 5 minutes and then realizing that and being like, oh shit, I have to repeat myself all
Well,
over again. Just interrupt me at any point. It's fine, and then
Okay.
I'll just continue.
Okay, perfect. So I guess we can move on to the grade out of 10 for
Yeah,
this second
this is
episode.
a 7 out of 10. This was very good episode. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see where you are coming from. I gave a 10 out of 10 because I could not point out any issues. This is the kind of episode I want to see and watch. This was amazing. It didn't add as much action, but it didn't need action. It only needed character moments. Bruno Mannheim, I cannot wait to see more of that character. It's a huge improvement considering how bad the villain in season 2 was. Um, so, yeah, any closing thoughts before we move to the final topic?
Uh, no, that's about it.
Okay, so I will mark down 234-0. John Wick. John Wick. What did you thought of that movie?
Yeah, I thought it was great. This is one of those films that, yeah, I mean, at the time, nobody knew what to really expect with this film and this franchise. Again, it's not as big or highly regarded as it is today. People are unsure about it, and Keanu Reeves was kind of, he was kind of like in the Nicolas Cage era of his career before this point. Like, he did The Matrix and everything, but then in like the late 2000s or like early 2010s, he was not doing too great. He's not the best actor. He was never the best actor anyway, but would be elevated and is a good action star with or comedy star with elements around him. But yeah, then this came out and yeah, they knew exactly how to utilize him, and yeah, this was a surprised everyone. This was yeah, because at the time a lot of people were getting bored of just this like outdated like Arnold Schwarzenegger movies or what's his name, Sylvester Stallone, the steroid GI Joe type of movies with just muscular man. It's like that was older than that, or just like generic bland vanilla action movies with shit action, and that was like all the American action movies during that time for a while lately, and all the like Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Indonesia, etc. action movies made them look like complete shit in comparison, especially with the action choreography. But yeah, then this came out, and this was like one of the films that basically kind of revived the act, sort of like how Spider Verse kind of revived the animation genre when it came to animating action and being more like anime style with its action, and sort of like in Puss in Boots, The Last Witch is
Yeah.
animation style with the action as well. This sort of did so with and like bringing some techniques like that, or from yeah over there, and also from like Russian action films and a lot of things, and yeah, bringing it over to now action films more today with stuff like this, and this is the one that kind of started it. And yeah, there's been a lot of action films that are more like this now with more character coming out lately, which is good. Um, but yeah, this was great, and this is like a mix of like yeah, I'd say the John Wick franchise, and this one definitely the first one is like a mix of 50% seriousness and 50% not taking itself too seriously, which is a weird blend and mix. But with Keanu Reeves, with the type of actor he is, who's also kind of like a mix of but also really good if he's elevated by stuff around him, and the world building in this, ended up working really well. And then yeah, again, all the action scenes in it are really good and creative, but they only get better and better with each film. Like in comparison to the action in the third John Wick film, especially in the beginning in the fourth John Wick film, it gets way better than this. And also the a spin-off kind of film, Nobody, which we'll probably watch as well. But yeah, and the villain characters are pretty great. And yeah, this is where the meme started as well. All the memes with like somebody killing somebody's dog and then just going rampage. And there's been a lot of films like comedy films kind of playing with that trope. But yeah, this is where it came from. This is the premise, film where it came from with it. But yeah, the villain characters, and again, any film with Willem Dafoe is just elevated because he's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
My favorite actor ever, probably. Uh, but yeah, but yeah, yeah, not too much to say. I want to hear what you think, but yeah, this is a great action film. Probably, yeah, I won't say my exact rating yet, obviously, till the end, but it's probably around like a 7.5 or 8, maybe. I'm not so sure, but yeah, it's a really, really great action film. But yeah, what did you think?
I thought that was a great movie. I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
Um, there are a few issues, of course. Nothing major, but there are issues nonetheless. Um, the first issue would be the villain are one-dimensional, just sick people wanting to hurt others. Now, I said that when we met the son and when the son just killed the dog and took the car. But I do think the father was much better than the son. The son was actually a
yeah,
shit villain, I think. But the
yeah.
father
Well,
was a good one.
again, I think the sons are, yeah, because again, I think the father character is the main villain. The sons are just kind of like side villains in this. And again, I think with the one-dimensional aspect, I wouldn't say they are like one-dimensional characters. I just think like, yeah, sure, their motives were kind of one-dimensional, and the main reason of that is because yeah, they're kind of like being portrayed as like dumb, like spoiled, rich kids who like think they're own anything, everything. Like, oh, how much is this car? It's not for sale. Fuck you. I'm gonna take it. It's like that's like villainous, rich, spoiled kids like that, teens like that, and acting in the way they have throughout the film. They would do that, and especially in a universe like this. So it makes sense, even if it is a little one-dimensional. I think with like younger characters like this and their attitude, it does like, well, one-dimensional. I think it makes sense. So I wouldn't call it a flaw necessarily, but I can understand where you're coming from. But before you continue, though, I have to say though, one thing I just remembered as well, though, the one scene though where he killed the mole in that facility. I gotta say, one thing I really like is in other like generic action films, usually when it's like he's about to kill one of the side or main villains, it's like they have some fucking dialogue thing for like a minute before giving the final like blow and just shooting him in the head. Yeah, no, that this film doesn't do that. He just walks up to him and just fucking shoots him 5 times and then walks away with that pan shot. And I really like that. It works and it gets to the point and it's realistic. And again, it might be unrealistic again for a character to like withstand all this, and which you'll also see later in the franchise. But again, it also isn't actual real life. It's its own universe as well, the John Wick universe, and
Yeah.
where there are tougher kind of super assassins who can withstand more pain and all that and are tougher. So keep that in mind when you especially later when you get into the franchise with like the third and fourth film.
Oh my. I'm scared now with the third and
Especially
the
the
fourth
fourth
one.
film, which was again to me all of them are great. All of them are great, excellent action films, but to different levels of like 8 out of 10 around that to me, in my opinion. But this third and fourth one get even crazier in a good
Okay.
way, but in a good way, as long as you keep in mind that it isn't exactly real life. Again, it's also its own universe, just like a comic book universe. So they are
Yeah.
a little tougher than the average human. So remember that. Some of them, at least. So remember that. Before you call out like unrealistic with some things that might happen in it. And the second John Wick film, in my opinion, is the weakest out of the franchise, though. And
Interesting.
because it has Ruby Rose in it as a villain who wasn't the greatest, but it's fine because she doesn't talk in it, so it's good.
They were like, You're bad at dialogue. We will mute you and make your
Yeah,
character
that's why she was okay in it, because she didn't have to talk.
So yeah, next issue. This is much later in the movie when they are in the kind of bar spa thingy. None of Wick bullet hit the sun while he doesn't miss a shot usually. You remember when the sun was running and running away and Wick just kept shotting and he broke glass and stuff. No bullet hit the fucking sun, and for the entire movie, John Wick just always hit his target. Sometimes he doesn't because they get covered and stuff.
Yeah, well, I will say one thing. This is explainable. I don't want to get too much into it because it might be spoiling some stuff later on. But again, this is him just getting back into it and into the world and into like killing people again after trying to retire for good. So he's a little, he's a little like, what's the word, rusty when it comes to it, and you see it throughout the film in some things. Like he makes choices that he should have known would backfire, and same thing within the second film, and with that one guy dying. So he he did miss in other points in certain scenes as well. So he is rusty there. But then as the franchise goes along, he gets better and better, and then also sort of like leveling up in a video game. And then to substitute that, they bring in maybe tougher people, kind of like bosses, to then substitute to that to make it an even playing field again in the film, but then also he gets more wear and tear throughout the film, which is also sort of like near the beginning how it is rusty, so that also is an effect there.
Come closer to your mic now. You're going a bit low.
My bad, but yeah. So in the beginning, a little rusty, and then gets more the hang of it, where he pretty much rarely misses at all. But then in the midpoint of the franchise, and then in the last later point of the franchise, gets a bit more rusty again because of him being a little bit more beat up. Yeah. So that's all I'll say. So that's like what they're going for and why he misses at some points there and then throughout the film. And then you'll see like later in the film, like in the second and third mainly, that his accuracy, you'll see it, don't worry.
Yeah. Next up, John Wick plot armor in the parking. Now I speak about that. It's by the daytime, just after the church scene, when they have a firefight in the parking. At some point, the guy drive and knock out John Wick with the car, and I feel like there was plot armor there because the villain, man, why did you took your time to just capture him? These henchmen, they would freaking murder him for their own survival. So why did you just kept him alive? All the
no, that one I had an issue with as well. But again, people say it's not trying to take itself as seriously, but no, that isn't a point of not taking itself as seriously. That one is actually just a dumb character decision. Like no matter even if it's like not a taking itself too seriously action film, like they could have done better choices where it wasn't stupid and makes sense, or was at least comedic in its way. Like if you have John Wick there, then I wouldn't just, it makes no sense for him to just walk away and instead of just watching for themselves, making sure he's dead, instead of just walking away.
Yeah. And on top of that, you just burned the freaking money.
Yeah.
The main villain would be not crazy angry after John Wick. So this actually hurts the main villain, even if the father itself was a good villain.
And even though it's Willem Dafoe.
Yeah. This did hurt the villain, So That's enough for my issues. These were my issues.
Yeah,
Uh,
and again, there are some, there are issues here and there throughout the entire franchise. I would say personally, but for the most part, again, definitely more positives and negatives throughout the franchise. But
yeah,
there are small things here and there, which is why, for me personally, like, not to say what my ratings are for all of them, but I wouldn't rate any of them like a 10 out of 10 or like a 9.5
yeah.
out of 10 or anything. But they are all great action films in my personal opinion. But
Yeah.
anyway, carry along.
So
Carry on.
now we dive deep into my likes, and I have a lot. It's a 1 hour 40 minutes, so this helps the movie a lot. I I think it's the shortest in the franchise, and I think it will be the one I will rewatch the most because it's the shortest one, and it's almost action nonstop, and there's still a story behind it, and the story is really good and really smart behind all of the action. There's a lot going on than just that that action flick, and I like that a lot. The opening scene was really good. You get to see John Wick like regretting at some extent losing that person, like regretting his past life, and that person he loved. He married her probably, I think. Um, she changed him for the best, and you look back at that and he's like, why did I go there again? And it's very interesting. You don't really get
Yeah.
full extent of it because that's still very early in the movie, but by the end of the movie you understand better. Um,
Yeah.
the funeral was very emotional, even for a character we barely knew, and this is good. The music was good. Emotional letter. When he was reading that letter, I felt something. I really felt something. It wasn't like the saddest thing ever, but I felt something, and that's a sign that you have good writer. If you can make me feel something with a letter, it's amazing. Um,
Yeah, and also again, just oh my bad. I actually haven't. It's been a little while since I saw the first film, so I actually got the cast and mixed up. Sorry, it wasn't Willem Dafoe. He was the main villain. He was another character. It was some this other actor. So my bad there.
Willem
Not
Dafoe
nonetheless
was
though.
an
Not,
ally. It was like the only
yeah,
ally
my
of
bad.
John Wick.
I got the cast and mixed up. So I just assumed that he was like the main villain
Yeah.
because he's usually a villain in other films. But my bad. But nonetheless, that other guy who's the villain is fantastic as well. So nonetheless, yeah.
So the dog, the dog was very likable, and the whole routine they got. You see, at first John Wick is like, I like that thing. I want to take care of him, but he is new. I don't really know how to deal with that, and that feels real for someone that never had a dog before. You just give him cereal until you find proper food. I think it was very endearing, and I like that a lot. Um, the gas station scene was fine. I guess it's in my like, so I guess I can enjoy that first appearance of the son. Losing his dog is like losing his girlfriend all over again. Um, I say that because this is how I see it, and how I explained it for myself. Why John Wick would go crazy and go on that revenge arc for a dog he barely had. And later on, he also explained to himself why he went on that revenge arc, because that dog was a thing that could help through grief, and that felt real. But now we skip some hooks to go there, but I wanted to place that there. It felt real, and it's a bit sad that it's memed around. I understand why it's memed around, but if you really understand the movie, if you really have seen the movie, uh, don't do that kind of joke, because grief can be really hard on people, and it's sad that it turned something serious into a meme. But that kind of stuff happens all the time. So,
Well, they made like a whole like Key and Peele made a whole uh,
yeah,
Jordan Peele and yeah, Kia made a comedy film like kind of parody in it. Keanu or whatever you call it, like a cat. I don't know if you heard of it. It was I don't know. So the title of it based off of just yeah the Keanu Reeves came out in 2016. So yeah, Keanu. Look it up. But yeah, that was pretty much like a parody
Yeah.
cat basically, but with a cat, and like the cat being stolen and them getting revenge.
So the car buyer was a very interesting character. He was like, don't f around, John Wick, and he's like also an exposition tool. He basically told Wick, yeah, that's the son. That's the go after him. You know, uh, that felt like a good character, a good ally to have. Next up, the music again. I liked the music a lot throughout the entire movie. The father was, as I said earlier, a great villain, much better than the son. The punishment of the father was good. Interesting backstory. Um, so that's when he was explaining to his son, "Don't f around John Wick, don't, just don't." It was very funny. John Wick hanging up the phone. It was hilarious, bro. I was like, shit will happen. Action will happen. You don't need to say a word. You just need to show this scene. Man, that was amazing. That's a proof that you don't need to let dialogue in. You're a movie. You can show us your story. That's the perfect example. Just the fact that John Wick hang up, I will always remember that. And I hope the other movie in the franchise does other clever things like that. Because this is actual funny stuff.
Yeah.
Um, the killing in the house, the fight choreography, the cops when they came, they were like, "Are you back in business?" and stuff. I was laughing my butt off. I was like, "Oh my, they really did it." The cop is scared by John Wick. Oh my. Next up, the music again. Every floor in the hotel feels different. Fight in the bathroom. That was a great fight. Fight choreography again. Fight choreography. Fight woman versus man made sense since John was already injured prior. So that was a really good fight, man versus woman. And you know me, I nitpick a lot fight choreography, and I call them out when they do a bad fight choreography involving a man and a woman, or even though two women or two men. You know, I point that one out, and here it made sense because she was able to compete with John because John was already crippled and injured. This is all you do it, everyone. You don't place a 90-pound woman facing off a killer like John Wick. If John Wick is healthy, top shape, you don't do that because it doesn't make sense. It won't add up. But here in this scene, it did add up. It made sense that she could be an actual threat because John Wick was already injured. Next up, funny, the priest was hilarious. John burning the money. The girl waking up, and here again, the girl was able to overpower a man because she was smart and she took him by surprise. So that was really good. Here again, when they involve women in fights, you need to be smart about it. And they were. Because when I see Gotham Knights first episode, I'm like, what are they thinking? How is it possible? How do you want me, the viewer, to believe in what you show us? these 90-pound woman flipping 120, 160-pound people, 200-pound people, It doesn't make sense. But in this movie, they were clever, they were smart. The girl was smart.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe being at the end an ally for John Wick. Like, that's funny because at first I was really worried that Willem Dafoe would really take seriously the 2 million and kill John Wick. I was glad in the end he was an ally because I was like, how John Wick will survive if his sniper is after him? Because that was the worry. That's a mislead. They let you think because Willem Dafoe is like, oh, okay, I take the job for 2 million, but in fact he doesn't really do it. He betrays the bad guy and he helps John Wick throughout the movie. I thought that was genius. That was really smart. Because if you really place a sniper after your main character and your main character doesn't know there's a sniper, it's impossible to deal with that in a smart way. But here, that was smart. It was actually an ally. And you want an ally with a sniper. So, next up, despite my issue with plot armor, I did like the parking fight, and the firefight itself made sense because they were taking cover, and they were not really like in the middle of the place shooting. They were like trying to do covering fire and stuff like that. So that was a really good fight outside of the moment in the end where they basically capture him instead of killing him. John Wick saying why he is angry at the villain's son. Basically explaining that the dog was his way to grief and not being alone. And that's one of the deeper team. And that also showcased how stupid the villains are in this movie. And this is very interesting because they just don't get it. They don't understand because they probably didn't lost people that have so much meaning that your world is collapsing. They just lost like their henchmen. They don't care about their henchmen. John Wick escape made sense because he had an ally, which is amazing. Fight choreography again. John Wick ally. William Dafoe did great job. The music. The father selling his son for his life was hilarious, and it felt real because you may think, oh, it's your son, you will die for your son, but not everyone is like that. There are some pricks that only care about themselves, and that's a big proof of that. The son getting scared after seeing people dying, that was hilarious. Willem Dafoe character, his loyalty toward John Wick and is not necessarily final fight because he's just slaughtered, but that felt really real. The father was a much better villain than the son. I already said it earlier. John Wick, other ally, the old man that has people cleaning crime scene and stuff. When he killed that girl, that was good. The last big firefight and the car crash, I liked it a lot. Then we had a great fist fight, but then I'm not quite sure of the ending. Did he really left alive the guy, or he died from a stabbing on the shoulder?
I'll be so there's I guess he probably died. Bled out if I would have to guess, but yeah, they don't. There's a lot of in the second and the third and such John Wick films where a lot of the people he fights, some of them you get the hint they survive with like certain lines because it says well, like I won't spoil it, but yeah, and then there's other moments though with people he
maybe come closer.
Oh, sorry, but yeah, there's points in all the John Wick films, kind of where he deals with certain people or fights with them or whatnot, and they don't necessarily show them dying, but it's up for debate kind of, or also is kind of like a joke.
Okay.
They get, with them, with some of them or whatnot. Like, I don't really want to like go too much into it, but it's a trend. Like, where they won't actually, reveal if they die or not. But
That's weird.
With each, but with each one in the scene, they kind of hint, which one it is. So like you kind of know. Like with this one, you kind of know the guy probably just bled out, and died when he walked away. Some other ones too, but then other people probably no, but with other people survived because of certain things he said or whatnot. Like you get you'll see it's a trend with the franchise when you watch all of them. No, you'll see, but
that's
so
weird.
I mean, well, kind of not. Like you'll see, but anyway. But also, with the one thing I want you to notice when you're watching all them, this was just a small nitpick for me, and I want to know if it's a nitpick for you. When you watch them, like I know it's not taking it so serious, like 100% seriously, the franchise, but I do find it kind of funny though how throughout the franchise though there are like action scenes like in public, like in parties or in like malls and shit like that, and like shooting people and stuff, and so many of just like the people in the background are just going about their day like video game NPCs. They don't even react to it or like don't run away and shit.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like a funny nitpick. I want you to like.
I actually thought about it when I was watching, and I didn't place it in my dislikes because I kind of found a defense on that specific moment there. It was very loud. There was a lot of music. People were dancing, and the music was covering what was going on. So
yeah, well listen. Throughout the franchise, there'll be many moments like that, and you can decide with each scene, and with how the people react or don't react around it, if you think it's natural or not. And it's up for you. It's up for you to decide.
At some point, they also realize there's a shooting, and people start running away and leaving. That's the thing that actually happens. That's another reason why it wasn't my dislike, because at some point some people do realize there's a firefight, and they just leave and run and evacuate, but that's only this movie. I don't know about the others. I haven't seen the others yet, but the others, if I notice that, for sure I will point that one out. But as I said here, I feel like there's a defense to it, and at some point people do leave the place when they realize there's a shooting. So yeah.
Well, anyway, my rating for this would be, I guess, an 8 out of 10, around that. Yeah, it's excellent.
So I have a last like, the very end, John Wick getting a new dog. Now you may wonder, why is it a like? Well, it's some kind of closure, because now he has someone to grieve with, or something to grieve with, and that shows us that maybe he wants to move on depending on what happens next, but
you'll see what happens next.
I hope they don't kill his second dog, otherwise it's so sad.
Oh, you'll see. Don't worry.
But yeah,
the suspense of it.
I would give this movie a 9 out of 10, and I gave a 9 out of 10 to se7en as well. But I do think this movie is better than se7en, because it was shorter. Even if it's just 1 minute, I feel it. I was more entertained by this than se7en, and I had much more things to look forward if I ever rewatch. se7en, as much as I liked it, and it's a 9, I think John Wick is more my cup of tea, because there's
It's
more going
surprising
on.
to say because I thought you were really into like those kind of detective films.
I like detective thing. Detective stuff, I like it, but I also like action stuff. So, like, tell me to pick detective or action. It depends on both movie. Like, uh, I I I can't remember when was my favorite action movie, but I remember my last favorite detective movie, and that was the Batman. Um, but I can't remember my favorite action movie. So if you tell me like either I don't know, the Batman, which is what I consider a detective movie because there's still a detective aspect to it, or John Wick, I will tell the Batman because I liked it more. But it's a case by case because detective things I like that a lot, but I also like action and entertaining stuff. You know,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
really
speaking of
case
that,
by case.
have you ever did you make any progress with that one cop show you were translating?
I keep translating it, but I will be honest. It was on ice for it's on ice. The translation for
Again, it's fine. Again, take as long as you need.
yeah.
I was just interested, where you're at
It's
with it.
still
That's
in my
all.
computer. I still have it.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah, again, take as long as you need. It
yeah
does not matter. Take as long as you need. I was just, I'm just was interested because it
yeah
was a little while since I heard about it. So
yeah. But yeah, it's still a project. One day I will finish
yeah,
it. um. So
yeah,
this will be a great thing to cover once I'm done translating
yeah.
everything.
What will come out first, that or Half-Life 3?
Probably Half-Life 3. I don't know. I don't know.
No, no, no. Half-Life 3 is never coming out.
Oh, okay, okay. Um, so maybe I will actually try making some progress next weekend. I will start by watching all of the movies I haven't watched, and then I will do some work of translation. I almost forgot about it. To be honest, I I almost forgot about it. It was still somewhere in my mind, and I know where to find it because I did finish 4 episode or 3 episode. Can't remember how many episode exactly I finished, but uh, it was somewhere in my mind, but not on top of it. You know what I mean? It's like it's in a compartment. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for John Wick. Um, so I guess we are in the outro now. Any closing thoughts on any of the topics we covered today?
No more thoughts really, but yeah, I mean, it was outside of Gotham Knights. I mean, it was a lot of good stuff we covered this
Yeah,
time. So yeah, that was fun. And yeah, we didn't even cover Alien, which was also amazing. Can't wait to cover that.
next week. Next week we cover Alien,
Yeah,
the first one.
yeah, and then the Shazam films and the other John Wick films that are on
Yeah,
digital, and then the week after.
and the
Yeah.
Flash. The Flash is back this week.
Oh yeah,
So
that's true as well. And then so yeah, we have that Gotham Knights, Superman and Lois, Legends of Tomorrow, and Crisis on Earth. Which Crisis on Earth crossover episodes were you wanting to cover?
uh, the entire Crisis on Infinite Earth. That's like 5 episode. So I will send you all 5 episodes the right order.
Okay, yeah, individually, okay, but yeah, and then the week after, I guess, yeah, the game Fight Club, John Wick 4, which would be in theaters, and then Alien 2 and 3. So yeah, so the next couple weeks at least, we'd be doing 5 films and like fucking, and then what, like 12 individual show episodes, and then a whole season of Legends of Tomorrow, season 5 and season 6. So quite a lot of stuff for the next two things.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's very important to watch Crisis before Legends because Crisis impacts one of the characters in Legends.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, I enjoyed the stream of today a lot. Thank you very much for being there. As usual, man, you are a great co-host. I like a lot talking about movies and stuff with you. It's always a blast. Thank you for your time and your patience, man. Anything else to add?
Nothing else.
So thank you very much, everyone. If it's not done yet, like, comment, and subscribe. And Cole, take care and have a good night. We will talk later.